puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target! Oh, my mic was muted. Okay. It's Monday night. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Dreadedconservative show. What up, Tomas? What up, B-Wise? How you guys doing tonight? I'm tired. I just woke up. I fell asleep late. Only got like 4.5 hours. Maybe 5 of sleep. I'm tired. I'm going to have to get some coffee after this show before the next show. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the Monday night show. Hey, let's go. We got a show tonight. Lots of stuff this week. The DNC wrap up, final thoughts, quotable mentions, mentionable quotes, whatever the expression is. The quotables. We'll talk about the DNC, what happened. Was it everything we wished it could be? Was it amazing? Did Taylor Swift or Beyonce show up? Spoiler alert, no. We got DNC. We got Matt Walsh invading the DNC. That was pretty funny. That was pretty epic. Epic trolling. That's real trolling. That's epic trolling. And then we have the DNC being overshadowed by our boy, Trump. Trump taking every chance he can to completely overshadow and overrun the importance of the DNC with RFK. RFK giving a speech, dropping out of the race, showing up at a Trump rally. It was amazing. It was glorious. I hope Cheryl Hines doesn't leave him now. Hopefully. I set an alarm for your show. I've been out watering the garden with my kids. Didn't want to miss it. Nice. Let's go. What up, Unique Prepping? I'm going to do a show on Wednesday with Unique Prepping and Buff. He said he wants to do a show. I'm only going to be there for like an hour or hour and a half about morality and values. Pretty funny. We're going to have atheist Buff and Christian Josh talking about morality and values. Me and Buff have had that conversation before. That's usually one of the first conversations I have with somebody when they're new to the channel is where they get their morals from. But it should be interesting. Okay, so RFK and Trump, DNC, not a lot of the main story. In Rapid Fire, we'll talk about the founder of Telegram being jailed, what this means, what the reasons behind it could be, or is it something more nefarious afoot? Are they cracking down on the stochastic terrorism like we've been talking about for dang near 2 years now? What's happening? And then last bit, we're going to talk about the Shroud of Turin. Oh, wait, I have to say it right. The Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin. The most studied archaeological relic in the history of the earth. And there's new updates on it. New updates that debunk carbon dating yet again. As I've always told you, carbon dating is not reliable. Certain methods are better than other methods, as we're going to find out today. But often, carbon dating, not super reliable. What up, Mayhem? In the after party, I'm going to need to get Buff and Jalen in here and Mayhem if he's not busy so we can stamp a time on this freaking debate, Jalen. Everybody's ready. Everybody's coming to the table. Okay? All you got to do is show up and be black, y'all. Be black, y'all. Be bliggity black because he's black, y'all. That's all you got to do, Jalen, is show up and be black. That's all you got to do. So we're going to put time tonight. Y'all are going to need, I don't know if I've ever heard of that, the Shoud of Turin. A lot of people haven't heard of it. And actually, well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But a lot of stories back on the TV day. Yeah, I just learned this week that it's actually the most studied relic, the most researched and studied and examined ancient relic in the history of the world. True story. They've looked more into it. We're gonna go into a lot of stuff. Did you know Hitler tried to steal it at one point? Hitler tried to steal the Shroud of Turin. So we'll talk about all that tonight. Let me open my little articles. Where's my little articles? I gotta get my folder out. I didn't do it yet. I'm tired tonight. I'm a little off. Definitely gonna get some coffee in me because I'm all out, and that's a problem. That is a problem. Gotta have the coffee. Oh, and I didn't even say what it is. Amanda Thomas. It's I believe it's real now. I wasn't 100%, but they're bringing me to the side after looking into it more. I never really looked a whole lot into it, but it's allegedly the burial cloth that they buried Jesus in. If the tomb was found and the Shroud of Turin was found, but no body was ever found. Wonder what that means. Guess I would love to discuss the timeline of the debate between Buff and Jalen. Yeah, we got a day picked. We just need to decide a solid time. Because Jalen doesn't want it to be too late. Like the time that's perfect. Everybody is fine with it. Like 6 or 7 o'clock my time. He's like, it's too late. I got to get to the bar. Oh, that's too late. I need to go to the bar. Pumping out man arm. I have no idea what that means. Nobody knows what that means. All right. First, we got to give a shout out. It's Men's History Month. It's the last show, right? Yeah, it's the last show of Men's History Month.
It's a man, baby.
It's the last show of Men's History Month. So I don't have a certain great man in history. We've covered a lot of these guys before. We're just going to go through the list that Google's given me of the greatest men in history. Abraham Lincoln. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln, what was I just about to say? What did he do? Oh, I just found out he was involved. Oh, he was involved in the Mormons. When the Mormons went to Illinois, Abraham Lincoln is the one that gave them, I forget what they called it, but he basically gave them something so that they could set up a village there. But they ended up getting kicked out anyway. But that wasn't Zion, because they had already got kicked out of Zion, which is Jackson, Missouri. So they went to Illinois, and Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest men in history, allegedly, I don't know. It's debatable. It's debatable whether Abraham Lincoln was as great as we think he was or not. I know some guys that get real. One day, like 3 years ago for Men's History Month, I put Abraham Lincoln, and this guy came in my comment section, like, roasted me. He's like, don't you know anything about Abraham Lincoln? Da, 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 and just rattled off a list of why Abraham Lincoln was not bad. You know who's on this list of greatest men in history? He's after Martin Luther King and Albert Einstein. One is a commie. One is a pretty eccentric, smart guy that I like. I like Albert Einstein. I did a research paper on Albert Einstein when I was in high school. Or no, I think it was in middle school. I don't know. But you know who's fourth on the list? Jesus. Jesus is fourth on Google's list of greatest men in history. We got George Washington on there. Was he really the first American president? Yes, he was. There wasn't 13 before. Let's get rid of this Project 1619 crap. Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton believed in God. Not necessarily the Christian God of Jesus, but he did believe in a creator or divine mover. Alexander the Great. If you don't believe in Jesus, you can't even believe in Alexander the Great. Did you know that? There's more information on Jesus, historical documentation, than there is on Alexander the Great. Muhammad, there's no picture of him. You think I'm joking? Y'all think I'm joking? Look at this. That's funny. That is funny. Look at this. Look, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Albert Einstein, Jesus, George Washington, Isaac Newton, Alexander the Great. Muhammad, there's no image. Everybody else gets a picture. Not Muhammad. Aristotle, great philosopher of the 3rd century. Or would that be the 4th century? BC? Oh, that's BC. That's 384 BC was when he was born. Huh. Napoleon Bonaparte. Christopher Columbus. I'm glad he made the list. I'm glad Google didn't take our boy, old Chrissy, off of the listy. Because then I would have been pissy. All right? Christopher Columbus making the list. Confucius say, girl who sit on judge's lap get honorable discharge. William Shakespeare, great writer. Galileo Figaro. Galileo, old astrologer, scientist, philosopher guy. I haven't really looked a whole lot into Galileo. Julius Caesar, Socrates, we talked about him last year. Adolf Hitler is on the list. Adolf Hitler is on the greatest men in history's list. A lot of dumb liberals, if you said that Adolf Hitler was one of the greatest men in history, they would call you a Yahtzee. They would call you a derogatory name that sounds with Yahtzee. Sounds like Yahtzee. If you said Adolf Hitler. But Google recognizes that he was one of the greatest men in history. I think it's undeniable. Buddha? I don't even think that's a real guy. Charles Darwin? Johann Gutenberg, the printing press. Great man. Great man. Leonardo, and led to Bibles being printed almost all over the world, which is also a sign of the end times. So, I don't know if that's as great as we think it is. I don't know if all these people should be getting Bibles in their language, but, you know, if it's a good thing, praise God. If it's a bad thing, boo, Johannes Gutenberg. No, we still needed the printing press, though. Leonardo da Vinci, kind of weird, kind of out there, but he had some ideas. He had a lot of great inventions, but he couldn't figure out how to make them. Kind of like Tesla. Lots of ideas. You can doodle stuff. You can come up with a lot of crazy ideas, but I think Leonardo da Vinci actually put it into practice, and he built a lot of cool machines and stuff. Whereas Tesla kind of just sat at home and doodled in notebooks. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Wasn't he a commie? Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton. Some great men in history. Happy Men's History Month, guys. It's the end of Men's History Month. Last show of Men's History Month. So, happy Men's History Month, everybody.
It's a man, baby.
Merry Christmas, Happy Schwanza, Happy Hanukkah.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the DNC. Let's take a look at the DNC. Lots of people came out. What did I catch? I caught a good bit of it. I listened to Clinton's speech. I think I listened to the Obama speech. I listened to Biden's speech. It's funny, Asmongold was saying, and this might be true because I heard somebody else talking about it, that Biden actually wasn't going through dementia. This is a theory, a fan theory. The theory is Biden wasn't actually going through dementia because at the DNC he slipped up a little bit, but I think we watched it on the stream actually. He was pretty on point. Oh yeah, because it was last Monday. We did watch some of Biden's. Remember he said women are going to get electrocuted, electorals, and then he like winked at the audience. That was kind of slick, Joe. Maybe Joe wasn't actually demented. He just knew he didn't want to run again. And the only way to get Kamala in there and slip her in there is if he tried to run up until the last minute. And then he pretended like he was losing his mind. He throws the debate on purpose. What do you guys think? You think this could have all been a big ruse and that Biden's actually still sharp as a tack? DNC dancing naked chicks? Dancing naked chicks. Huh. Beelzebub, I love the beliefs of Josh. Is this like a book that I'm writing? The Beliefs of Josh. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. For me. For me. Those 13 before Washington had position equivalent to the Speaker of the House. Right. And then people will say that there was actually 13 presidents before Washington, and it's kind of like a way to besmirch America. Some revisionist history mess. Anyway, DNC dancing naked chicks. Kamala, Kamala's speech, she did a decent job. I'm not gonna, it's still Kamala. It's still a bunch of, you're not really telling me any policy. You're not really telling me what you're gonna do much. A little bit of policy, but she actually did a decent speech, better than I would have expected from Kamala. She still won't do interviews. She's still hiding from the media because what people are saying is that she's like what Joe Rogan said when he was gushing over her. She's trainable. She's camera ready. She's camera trainable. And she can learn a speech real good. And she can go out there and say the speech and make you really feel something. And when we tell her, don't laugh, Kamala, they don't like your laugh. Pollers, we've polled. The polls say, polls are in. Worst laugh. Probably the worst laugh anyone's ever heard. Don't laugh, Kamala. So their publicists and Trump and everybody are saying, you got to stop laughing, Kamala. Nothing's funny anymore. You're trying to beat Donald Trump to save the democracy. You can't be laughing. This is not a laughing matter, Kamala. Don't laugh. You need to get stoic up there. And can you even headbang with headbanging according to Wham? I can headbang with dreads. I'm kind of old for headbanging. My neck, pop my neck out. When your dreads are as long as mine, it's hard to headbang with them. You got to do like a full body, like headbang. So you can't just do like this. It won't work. But if you do like a full, put your whole dang motion in the ocean, then you can do a full dread bang. We call it a dread bang. We don't call it a head bang. We call it a dread bang. Have you seen interviews that JD Vance has been doing? He's been killing them. I haven't seen a lot of them. I need to watch some of them though. I'm not going to read all that, Dean. Make your comments pithy, concise, succinct, to the point. I can't read a freaking novel in the middle of the show, Dean. Okay. Let's see. Here are some highlights to watch for Thursday for the last night. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, Haaland, Holland. Senator Pocahontas was there. Elizabeth Warren. Old Pocahontas was there. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. Gretchen Whitmer, that wicked demon woman. What's the body count? Gretch. What do you call somebody named Gretchen for short? Would you call him Gretch? What a horrible name. Why would you name your child that? It has the word wretch in it. Why would you name your daughter that? Who does that to their child? What up, Gretch? What up, Gretch? Old Gretch Armstrong. Do you dread banging? Yeah, dread banging would probably give me a headache and possibly break my neck. Break your neck. Wait, how's that? What song am I thinking about? Break your neck. No, that's shake your ass. That's shake your ass, but watch yourself. That's what I'm thinking of. What's the other song I'm thinking about? Break your neck. Bob your head and break your neck. Oh, break your neck. Busta Rhymes. Bust. Who else? Adam Kinzinger, Roy Cooper, Maxwell Frost. That's a cool name. My name is Maxwell Frost. Representing Gabby Gifford of Arizona. Kelly's wife, gun violence. Kelly's wife. Mark Kelly's wife. Senator Mark Kelly. Gabby Giffords is Mark Kelly's wife. She didn't take his last name. Horrible. That's some feminist garbage right there. How you gonna not take the man's last name? Something wrong. Or hyphenate your name. What the heck? Hyphenating your name gives you 3-letter name. You know who else has 3-letter names? Every freaking assassin ever. That means you're a dang hit woman. What up, Starborn? I knew a Gretchen in school. She wasn't very nice. Maybe her name did it. Yeah, if you name your daughter Gretchen. Sorry if anybody in chat has a daughter named Gretchen, but not sorry. Your daughter you're setting her up for failure. Gretchen? Okay, so that was the last night. Those are the people there. I think we got a little clip. One of the interesting things, they're really focused on joy. The right is weird. JD Vance is weird. Trump is weird. Everybody's weird. And we're about joy. What America needs now is joy, sweet joy. That's not how the song goes, but that's what America needs right now is joy. Really focused on joy, even though everybody's freaking miserable when they're in office. Every city that they run, the people are miserable. There's drugs everywhere. There's crime. People are homeless, shooting up and pooping in the streets. At the same time, sometimes. I've seen it at the same time. I've seen them taking a shit and shooting a hit at the same time on the same corner. It's amazing how they do it. They crouch down and they're slamming it. They're slamming the dope into their arm while they're dropping a deuce. It's amazing. Then they stand up and they just kind of lean forward for about 3 hours in the same spot. I knew a guy who had a fetish for surveys. I'm sure by now he's come to his senses. Or Hilga. Hilga, too. Dang, Hilga sounds strong. When I hear the name Hilga, I just assume she could break me in half. What up, Hilga? Helga? Hilga? I seen Helga. Hilga. What the? Let's see what this clip about. Who's this? 14 quotes. 14 quotes. Oh, we got Oprah. Oprah was there. And the crazy part is, before we play these quotable quotes, well, we'll get to that in a second. It opened with dang Lil Jon saying, yeah. Oh no, Lil Jon. Oh no. No. Lil Jon? No. It's a good thing you're washed up because nobody would listen to your music anymore after this, except for white liberal girls, which I guess I guess that is his target audience. Turn down for what? That's what the white liberal girls love that while they're at the club, about to get ran through. All those names I would never use. That sounds like a meaty Russian woman's name. Yeah, or like a Norwegian rock thrower. Like if I picture a woman Norwegian rock thrower, or like the like the bodybuilders, the guys that the strongmans, like a strong woman. Like she just picks up boulders and throws them for training in her front yard. Hilga. And she yodels too, but not very good. It's a very deep, it's like yodel. Okay. I need to stop. I need to calm down. Um let's watch some of these quotes. Look at old Tim Waltz. Oh, and the camo hat. We'll have to talk about the camo hat too. I called it. I didn't call that it was going to be campaign merch, but I did say, you notice he's wearing a camo hat in all of his like pictures. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's watch these quotes from the DNC. 17 minutes? We ain't watching all this. What the?
The rap sheet. She presides over the Senate while he keeps our national secrets next to his thinking chair.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett. Kamala Harris has a resume. Donald Trump has a rap sheet. Wow, that's a good one.
Y'all know what I said that other time. In Mar-a-Lago. Well, Donald Trump wants to put our...
Oh, yeah, this is that gross lady that said some, like, disgusting things about Trump, like, in court. Just profane, obnoxious. Isn't this the lady that got in the argument with MTG?
Our 1787 Constitution through his Project 2025 paper shredder and make every day January 6th. Kamala Harris is fighting.
Every day is going to be January 6th? Let's freaking go. I was at the Utah State Capitol on January 6th, and it was lit. Part of my opening video is from that Stop the Steal at the Utah State Capitol. It was peaceful. There were lots of Proud Boys with lots of big guns everywhere. Lots of guns. And then there was a little tribe of like white girls with BLM and rainbow flags and stuff. A little circle of them, and they were yelling and chanting. And all these Proud Boys are like walking around them with like ARs. One dude had like a M60, and I'm not exaggerating. Like he had a blanket over it, but you could see it hanging out the bottom with the forks that go in the front. I'm talking about an M60, the big boy that that you lay down and it has the forks on it. He was walking around with that thing. Yeah. Right in front of a Utah State Capitol. And nothing happened. There was no violence. Lots of big scary guns though. And then some little white liberal kids. And we actually had we had some good conversations with them. I wasn't really talking to him. I was just filming. I said a few things to him. Matthew, that's not really... You can't walk with a pig. They're huge. If you start from the time it's a baby and you carry it up a hill every day, as you grow, as the pig grows, you'll grow with it. And soon you'll be able to carry a whole pig up a hill.
Fighting to fulfill the promise of
All
America.
right. Let's see what AOC had to say.
Saying that I should go back to bartending. One vote since I got elected. Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending. But let me tell you, I'm happy to any day of the week because there is nothing wrong with working for a living.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, go back to bartending for one day. You better be in a blue city, girl, or you ain't getting no tips. You might get a tip. but you ain't getting no tips. New strength training, the pig carry. Yeah, yeah. There's actually in the story, I think it was a cow. That's one of those, that's one of them old wives' tales. Yeah, make me a drink, AOC. Damn. Okay, what Hillary got to say? What's Hillary out here talking about? What's Hillary talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
In the highest, hardest glass. We've put
Like Kamala and Tim.
Together we've put cracks in the highest glass ceiling.
together we've put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling.
Well, that's because it's actually, you're on the second floor. We built a glass floor so we could look up through it at the ladies, and we just put them on the top floor so we don't have to ride the elevator. And you ladies are getting too heavy, and you're cracking the glass floor. That was a bad joke. I didn't work on that. I just came up with that.
And tonight, so close to breaking through once and for all, I want to tell you what I see.
I want to tell you how pissed off I am that it's not me. Oh, her hubby. Oh, no, this is Biden. What's Biden got to say? So Biden was amped up. Biden was amped. He's back to his old self all of a sudden. He's not totally delirious anymore. He didn't wander off the stage. Nothing. He had a few flunders, a few fumblies, as Joe Rogan would say.
Part in the American story. For me and my family, there's a song that means a lot to us. It captures the best of who we are as a nation. The song is called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, and I can't sing worth a damn, so I'm not going to try. I'll just quote it. The work and prayers of centuries have brought...
So it's not even your own quote. You're quoting a song? What is it, Beyonce? I don't even want to hear this. I've watched this already. I watched this last week. What up, Doug? Who's this? My name is Doug. Hey, it's Doug.
I got married, became a dad to Cole and Ella. Unfortunately, went through a divorce. But
this is a quote. Hey, it's Doug. I'm on my way to an early meeting. Again, it's Doug. This is one of the 14 best quotes from the DNC. Who is? I don't even know who this guy is. And his name on the prompter, I don't know if they misspelled it. In the captions, it says Doug. But in the behind my face, it says Doe. Doe Emhoff. That's a weird name, too.
I eventually started worrying about how I would make it all work.
This is the most boring guy I've ever seen. I can't even listen to you for 1 second. You know who said that? Eminem said that. What if Eminem would have pulled up? Oh, damn!
Feeling Claritin
Hold
Clear
up.
is...
We got a dang ad. Sorry, guys. Hold up.
Voicemail. And she makes me listen to it on every anniversary.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people.
All the white liberal women on my Facebook are like, oh my God, Michelle did so great. And then I think Tim Waltz should be in here with his quote. I'll tell you about that. Yeah, I really don't care what the Obamas had to say. Let's see what Barack talking about. Hey, even if Donald Trump, he comes and come see Donald. Donald, come find out.
Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama.
What a beta.
Beta! Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago.
Yeah, you wish you had a golden escalator. Biden needs to get an escalator.
It has been a constant stream of
Actually, after looking at the nightmare fuel that is an escalator, I would be scared of an escalator too if I was Joe Biden. Because you fall down on an escalator, you ain't getting back up. That's staircases that eat you at the end.
gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala.
No, we're still in Men's History Month until the end of the show. The childish nicknames and crazy conspiracy theories, the weird obsessions with crowd sizes. Oh, yeah, in a presidential election, there's no importance to how big of a crowd you can draw. Are you an idiot, Barack? What are you talking about? A weird obsession with crowd sizes. You're running for a presidential election where people vote for you. I think crowd sizes at rallies, campaigning, is kind of a large portion of what you're supposed to do, Barack. Good job, genius. I don't know this guy. What's Billy saying? What's old Billy saying? Haven't seen Billy in a minute.
Got to the chase. I am too old to gild the lily.
Oh, Clinton, ready to go.
2 days ago, I turned.
Let's cut to the chase. I'm too old to gild the lily. I'm too old to gild the lily. I have no idea what that even means. This is their best quotes. Oh, we got Oprah. Oh, big old you told Harpo to beat me. I don't care what Bill has to say. Play a saxophone or something. Go back to Epstein Island.
From our neighbors. When a house is on fire, we don't ask about the homeowner's race or religion. We don't wonder who their partner is or how they voted. No. We just try to
partner?
Beta! Do the best we can to save them. And if the place happens to belong to a childless cat lady,
oh, look at this girl they show. She's about to cry. She's like, I'm a childless cat lady. and she's from Hawaii. And I was stuck in my house during a fire recently. Oh, no.
well, we try to get that cat out too.
Before the cat lady? Anyway. Oh, wait. We didn't find Tim Waltz yet. I just wanted to talk about his quote. Oh, yeah. Here it goes. Mind your own damn business. Is this going to be the quote? Oh, they didn't even pick the right one.
We've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready. Our job for everyone.
Quit talking to us like you're John Madden, bro. You coached a high school football team.
Watching.
And none of them could read.
Is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling. 1 inch at a time. 1 yard at a time. 1 phone call at a time. 1 door knock at a time. 1 $5 donation at a time.
Park City.
Escalators, I've fallen up and I can't get up. I've fallen down and I can't get up forever. That's true. All right. One of the quotes Tim Waltz said was, mind your own damn business. And one of the liberal ladies that is on my Facebook posted, mind your own damn business. This quote needs to be spread everywhere. And people in her comments were like, who said that? Something dumb that Trump said? Who said that? And these are all Democrats. And none of them know what she's talking about. Because they don't really know what they're talking about either. None of them know anything about anything. And so I commented, I said, yeah, this is a quote from the potential VP candidate who also set up COVID snitch hotlines, where you could call and report your neighbor for going outside during lockdowns. The guy saying, mind your own damn business. Let me say that again. The guy whose quote that the Democrats are quoting as mind your own damn business set up snitch phone lines where you could call and report your neighbor for going outside during lockdown. Mind your own damn business. Yeah. Okay. And I said that, and all these Democrat ladies are like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't have any dirt on Tim Walz. And then I rattled off a long list of dirt on Tim Walz, from stolen valor to bad management of COVID, bad management of BLM riots, increasing crime rate all over Minnesota, part of Minneapolis being turned into little Somalia, and illegal Somalian immigrants pouring in huge numbers. His immigration policy is going to be bad. And also I've heard he had a hankering for horses. I've heard he likes horses, if you know what I'm saying. Of course, they didn't know what I was saying, but I couldn't really in Facebook detail in depth what Tim Walz did with a horse. But anyway, and as I was saying earlier, strength through joy, their new motto, or no, I'm sorry, that's not their new motto. That's their old motto. But they're always talking about joy, 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 joy to the world. The Lord has come. But another group that used to focus on joy a lot too had a motto, which is strength through joy. And these are people that the Democrat Party pretends like they hate, but they actually are quite a bit like them. Strength through joy. Let's see what Wikipedia shows. Oh, wow. Wow. What is that? Strength through joy. NS Gemeinschaft der Freude. Gemeinschaft der Freude. Or strength through joy was a common name used by the NSDAP operated leisure organization in Nazi Germany. It was part of the German Labor Front. Strength through joy. Gemeinschaft der Freude. They also liked to talk about joy. The Nazis. Did you know that? 9. Okay. 12 highlights from the DNC. AOC gets a primetime speaking slot. Primetime speaking slut. AOC. Biden gets emotional during his send-off. Oh, Biden was crying. Crying Biden. Lying, crying Biden. Biden. That was perfect. My Greifenachsustreuden. Democrats add flavor to roll call with musical nod to each state. DJ Cassidy, nobody knows who that guy is. Lil Jon was there. I think like Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion. One of these. Rapper Lil Jon energizes crowd during surprise roll call performance. Roll call! That was a good song. I used to like that song. Hold on.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Look at this nerdy ass white dude that introduced. Look at this guy that just introduced Lil Jon. That's funny.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
This guy. Now we're gonna hear from Little John, a man whose music I've never actually listened to in my entire life. I don't know what it is to get crunk, as they used to call it in 1965 when I was on my dinosaur. But this is Little John with his great hit from the early 60s, Yeah, featuring Ludacris and Usher, performing his song Roll Call. Welcome to Atlanta, where the play is play. Even though we're in Chicago and we're all kind of gay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
5, 4, 3, 2. Everybody shots.
for president.
Kamala.
5, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what?
It's good that you know shots. Is that Lil Jon? I think that's Lil Jon. But yeah, they're taking shots at Trump. Turned down for what? Performing his song, turned down for what? I don't know what that means, but this is Little John. Okay, we're not going to play that. Michelle Obama tells Trump the presidency might be a black job. What does that even mean? The presidency might be a black job. What does that mean? You're going to steal my bike? And what does that even mean? I don't understand. Barack Obama mocks Trump's weird obsession with crowd sizes. Yeah, that's kind of an important thing in an election, as we said already. Doug Emhoff introduces himself to the nation. Nobody cares. Gus Waltz tearfully cheers on his dad. This is the kid that looked like he hated his life the whole time. He was sitting behind him just pissed off at the world. But when it was time to go on stage, he brought on the waterworks. Oprah makes a surprise appearance. Republicans speak out against Trump. Gay. Elizabeth Warren emotional as she gets a hero's welcome. All right. Enough of this crap. DNC highlights from NBC. Same thing. A bunch of garbage. But the big shocker was there was no big closing act, you know. We had the Hulkster. We had Kid Rock show up. We had Dana White. And what did they got? They got washed up Lil Jon. Who did they have? Megan Thee Stallion or dang? But anyway, leading up to the last night, they're like, who's the special guest going to be? Who's the special guest appearance going to be? There's got to be a big star-studded finish to this thing. And they were saying, maybe it's Taylor Swift. Maybe the Swifties are going to show up in force. Nope, not Taylor Swift. Maybe it's Beyonce. Maybe Oprah's going to put in a call to be Beyond Z. Beyond Z's going to show up. Nope, no Beyonce. Turns out there was no closing act. And then the Democratic mainstream toilet paper media started running cover, and now they're all putting out stories saying it was actually a very smart idea from the Democrats at the DNC to put the entertainment first and focus on policy and candidates instead of entertainment. So they're saying they led with the entertainment. Lil Jon and was it Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B? One of them ladies. Probably talk about her WAP. Yeah, Hake talked about it today. Heard Waltz's son has a learning disability. Oh, well, maybe that's why he looked. I'm not surprised, by the way. Bad genes, you know? You know? Sometimes great parents, you know, get the misfortune of having learning disabled children or maybe physically disabled. And it happens to the best parents out there, great parents. But sometimes, you know, it makes perfect sense when you see the parents. Cardi B, more like Tardy B. So they didn't have Taylor Swift, they didn't have Beyonce, they didn't have a closing thing, and everybody was like disappointed. And now they're running cover from Variety magazine. Dear Beyonce and Taylor, thanks for staying home. The DNC benefited from treating musicians as opening acts, not headliners. Yeah, good, nice cover, Variety. Don't lie. Everybody was pissed off. Everybody was sad that there was no closing act. Don't lie to us. The Democrats are surely counting on cashing in a rain check with those superstars. But there was a lot to... Oh, so one day they're going to have Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Maybe before the debate or after the debate, so we forget how bad Kamala gets destroyed. If she debates, maybe they'll have a Beyonce concert. There was a lot to be said for the more modest picks who did bolster the convention with smart music choice from Pink. Oh, it was Pink. It was Pink. And that's why I thought Eminem might show up on the last day, because he just had an album come out. And he's notoriously been known to go at Trump, even though he also goes against every politician who's currently in office when he makes an album. People don't understand satire, I guess, but that's kind of what you do when you're an entertainer who talks on current issues and makes jokes of it and stuff. You're supposed to talk about all of them, and he does. I thought they were going to have Eminem because Pink was there on the first day, and they're kind of buddy-buddy. They've done a bunch of songs together. Lil Jon, Pink, and Jason Isbell. I don't even know who that is. Under any other circumstances, if there was a widespread rumor, supposedly verified by legit news sources, that Beyonce was going to perform in an internationally televised event, only to have the evening proceed with no mention or trace of her, it'd feel deflating. But that airy sound you heard across the land Thursday night wasn't the sound of a whiff. It was a mass sigh of relief. Yeah, they were relieved that Beyonce didn't show up. Shut up. Shut up, Variety. I don't even want to read this garbage. So that they flubbed. They didn't seal the deal with their closing act. Nobody could get Beyonce or Taylor there. They're like, I'm not stamping my name on this. Did you see Trump just had RFK here? You think I'm going to show up and sing after that? We're about to talk about that after the DNC. The real story of the week. But before we talk about that, I do want to show a little bit of Matt Walsh's video here, because this is pretty funny. We'll skip around through it. I'm not going to play the whole video. But this is a video on his channel, and he showed up at the DNC disguised as a white dude for Harris with the new White Dudes for Harris campaign. You know, these nerds who wear camouflage. Remember the old meme? It was like, wears Carhartt things but doesn't do Carhartt things. Democrats and liberals, they always they want to wear camo. They want to wear their car hats or their Carhartt beanies and their Carhartt jackets and their cargo pants from Carhartt. And it's like, yeah, but you don't you don't really do Carhartt things. Like, maybe they go hunting sometimes. Maybe they have a garden. But they're not really doing Carhartt things, you know. You live in the city. You work at a desk in a cubicle, and you're wearing your Carhartt camo hat. So anyway, sidetrack before we get into the Matt Walsh thing. One of the new campaign merch for the Waltz Kamala campaign is a camo hat with orange, like hunting orange. It says Harris and Waltz. And it's just so funny. Wearing camo hats. That's how you get middle America. You just give everybody a camo hat. A garden. But check this out. Matt Walsh showed up at the DNC dressed as a white dude for Harris, dressed in his I am not racist disguise. And it's pretty funny. He's just trolling them. We're going to skip around in this.
In Chicago. Now, before I tell you about my experiences, I want to dispel one rumor right away. There are some who assume that I only went to the DNC to shamelessly promote my new film, Am I Racist?, which premieres September 13th. Tickets are on sale now at amiracist.com. These people think that the entire thing was one big stunt, that I went to the DNC knowing that the left would get angry and start complaining about it on social media, thereby unwittingly helping me to advertise my film. That the whole point was to generate headlines like this in the Daily Mail. Matt Walsh enrages Democrats by crashing DNC in White Dudes for Kamala Harris disguise. An article that includes a lengthy description of the film along with a link to the trailer. That's how some people see this, as some kind of low-rent gimmick to raise awareness Partisan.
Right.
Dialogued about many important issues, including racial justice. I thought it was a great conversation. Here's a quick snippet of that.
So are you partisan?
Well, we're partisan for the truth is what we're partisan
Right,
for.
nice.
You know,
I like that. Partisan for the truth. That's good.
Even though I'm wearing a Kamala Harris hat.
Right, I know. Right.
It's not partisan. But I'm advocating for her to, it's like a nonpartisan way.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and Trump gets in, these policies get implemented.
No, that's all. We got to stop Trump.
Kamala's going to get in. We know it's good. It's going to happen. But
fingers crossed.
Right, fingers crossed.
Fingers
But
crossed.
if she doesn't, right. But if she doesn't, again, they're going to continue to try pushing.
Because racial justice is a particular focus of mine. Is that important to you in your personal life? To decolonize, decenter your whiteness?
Hands down.
Decenter your
Absolutely.
whiteness.
And everything you do, you have to think about.
Oh.
How do you do that on a daily basis? You get up in the morning, you're decentering.
First of all, who has access? Who's at the table? And who's in the room?
I'm going to go a little overboard.
Yeah, go. Let's hear it.
But
Let's hear it.
If I walk into a room and there are people of color in the room, I want to literally not be in the center of the room.
Yep.
So I'm walking
Literally.
around the edges.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not in the center.
God, I love Matt. That's so funny.
Not everyone goes that far.
Right. And that,
I'm super committed to it. So that's.
I mean, I walk in a room, I'm white, but I'm also an anti-Zionist Jew of Ukrainian descent. I'm also a
Her mask says Project 2025 on it.
lesbian. I also, identify as a dyke. So like all those things.
You got a couple more.
But if
You got a couple more oppression points than I do, lady.
You have to say points, but you have a couple more points.
right, so you have
than I
to be
do.
aware.
I have no points.
Well, no, but you have a say. And also, if you're not fighting for reproductive justice as a man, especially as a straight man, that's some work to do, right?
Well, wait. So if you're against abortion, which is what she just said is liberal gobbledygook, commie gobbledygook. I'll translate for you. What she just said is if you're a man and you're not helping women get abortions, then you need to work on that. But then if you're against abortion as a man, they'll tell you that if you don't have a vagine, then you can't talk about it. You can't have an opinion on it if you don't have a vagine. But she just said, if you're a man, you need to help make sure women can get abortions. I thought we weren't allowed to have an opinion on the topic.
Reproductive justice as a man, especially as a straight man, that's some work to do, right? Yeah.
I look around this place.
Especially as a straight white man, you need to be making sure these women can get abortions.
There's too many white people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Too many white.
But a lot of black women who are organizing, and
But
they
then
always have.
Look, there's a prayer room. Did you see that? There's a prayer room. You know what the prayer room is for, right? You know who the prayer room is for, right? Because Christians, we're supposed to constantly be in prayer. We're supposed to always be aware and always be following God in his right way, along with nothing else. Constantly. So we don't have to go into a room 5 times a day and face the west and get down and say some repetitive chants. So you know why they have a prayer room set up, right?
The white people are walking through. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Because the black women set it up, the white people show up.
But this is an elite scenario here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just like anybody can come, but really, can they? Do they feel like they're welcome?
I don't want to be on camera. Your sperm don't
A lot of people figured it out really quick, though.
make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
A constellation?
Well, it's great talking
All
to you.
right. Yeah, you too. You too.
Thank
Take it
you.
easy.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll do the shake thing.
Well,
We'll do the shake thing. It's 2024. Nobody's worried about COVID anymore. You're not going to get monkeypox from shaking hands, but she almost touched his butt. Did you see that? She like reached out to touch his butt and he kind of moved away. But now she's like scared to shake hands.
yeah, because with the mask, I don't want to.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Okay, all right.
All right. Take care. I can't catch monkeypox through a weenus.
That was a great discussion. We seem to be on the same page. Left on good terms. And
Here's where he gets kicked
why are
out.
they kicking me out?
The people running the event is requesting that. So this is a event run by the organization.
He gets kicked out, but then they get back in later. And then there's a couple more clips I want to show you.
Walking around, sitting, listening, applauding. Everything was fine. Everything was going well. But then, as I was venturing around and taking in the sights, I may have accidentally, entirely unintentionally, through no fault of my own, stumbled right into the middle of a CNN interview with Senator Chuck Schumer. Watch.
Work with all kinds of people, and she was effective in getting things done. One of the things she pushed, which we succeeded in, was $35 insulin for senior citizens.
That's so epic.
The thing she pushed, which we succeeded in, was $35 insulin.
That is so awesome.
For senior citizens. Now we're going to get it for everybody.
What's your response when Trump takes credit of that?
Trump takes credit for so many things
So he passes, he comes back.
he doesn't do, and gets the blame for a lot of things he
And he walks back again one more time.
does do. He's lost his bearings, as we can see, day by day.
Senator Chuck Schumer, I know you've got a lot to do on the convention floor. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Great to see you.
Anderson, back to you.
Caitlin, thanks very much. Scott, I interrupted you.
So I know you might see me walking in the direction of the live shot, plodding right through it, staring at the camera, then turning around and walking back in the same direction, and then turning around and walking through the shot again for a third time. And you see that, and you think that this was some ridiculous, immature, intentional attempt to photobomb Chuck Schumer. And frankly, I'm offended by the mere suggestion. First of all, I'm in the media. I'm a professional. Okay, I would never photobomb anyone.
People were tweeting about it. Fam. Matt Walsh is at the Dem convention posing as a delegate. Do not talk to him. Call him out. Tell security. Shame. Call security if you can. Resharing, spread the word. So Matt Walsh is awesome. Camera guy was trying to keep him in the shot. The camera guy might have knew who he was, but 25 reactions. Oh, they're not showing up. They're not loading in for some reason. But he was disguised as a white dude for Harris. That's so funny. But all right, that's all the news on the DNC. But we have bigger news. We have bigger fish to fry. And we're going to watch this whole thing. This is 12 minutes. And it's worth it. This is freaking amazing right here. So the DNC was totally overshadowed by our boy, Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump. Donald John Trump. And RFK. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? RFK giving a speech this week, dropping out of the race. Now, I've been hard on RFK. I said I like some of the stuff he says, but I don't like how he kind of kowtows to his wife. His whole family comes out against Trump. His wife said in an interview with who were they being interviewed by? I feel like it was a Late Show guy. I can't remember who they were being interviewed by, but she basically RFK said she would divorce me if I endorsed Trump. Or he said she would divorce me, and then she said, haha, he knows me too well. So going against his wife's wishes, going against his family wishes. RFK hasn't totally dropped out of the race, but he is not going to be on the ballot in the 10 most important swing states. He's only going to be on an interview that I watched with him. He said basically the states that aren't going to have a huge impact on the election, he's still going to be on the ballot there. But in the swing states where it really matters who wins, he's not going to be on the ballot there. And he's basically endorsed Trump. And during the DNC, he was at a Trump rally, and it was amazing. Let's watch. Let's watch this.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these.
Right. How do you marry a Kennedy and not take his name? That woman. I couldn't stand her on Curb Your Enthusiasm either. RFK is a Kennedy. He can't be that based, just kind of based. Right. He's not super based, but the stuff he says against vaccines, the stuff he says against chemicals in the food, that's like the main focus. His new slogan, he's even borrowing slogans from Trump now. His new slogan is "Make America Healthy." Well, he says it like this: "Make America healthy again." Make America healthy again. I don't know. Okay, let's not. Gonna say it every day till you do it. Wait, what are we doing? The Trump man. Let's go. He's saying make America healthy again. And he's really focused on, and he's tearing the Dems up. He's tearing up the fact that they wouldn't do interviews with him. This is a great speech right here. Just listen.
These values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person. But he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him.
Trump is incorporating Zoomer slang into his speeches. He's very low-key. Low-key on the low. Low-key, though. RFK, kind of based. Sometimes pretty based. Sometimes not so much.
I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
All right, copyright music. Watch him as he goes. Fireworks. They got fireworks. They got pyrotechnics up on the stage for dang RFK. Did they have any fireworks at the DNC? Probably not. It's probably bad for the climate. It's bad for the ozone. They probably had a laser light drone show in the building because they don't like fireworks. They hate America.
Man. Whoa.
Foo Fighters. What up, baby?
And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Compare a Trump chant to a Democrat chant. Remember we were watching it last week and I was making fun of how you can't really tell what they're saying in their chants, but you hear like random people in the audience and everybody's off. Like they can't even get their sycophantic rhythm in, or their, is that what it's called? We're supposed to naturally, like, our rhythms move together if we do things in rhythm. So like if you'll notice, if you're in like an auditorium or something and people start clapping, at first it'll sound all disjointed, but soon the clapping, I think it's called sycophantic rhythm or something. We have a natural proclivity to get in rhythm with each other, with all the people around us. I've talked a lot about the bridge that fell because people were walking and they all started swaying together during a parade on a bridge, and it caused the bridge to collapse because the engineers didn't plan for sycophantic rhythm. And anyway, the point is, a Trump chant, USA, USA, USA. A Democrat chant is like, hey, Biden, no lie, Biden, we love you, Biden, USA, Biden. It sounds so bad. Creed is actually Christian. Creed are real Christians. Does Foo Fighters claim to be Christian band?
For the past 16 months, Bobby has run.
Wix gives you the power.
Shut up, Wix. No, I don't want to do yoga.
President of the United States, I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it. And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like you had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby, you want to know the truth. And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that. Amazing. It's true.
You seen RFK doing push-ups with his shirt off? For an old man, dude's kind of built. Look at him in that suit. Looking fresh.
Amazing. Soon after I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month.
Yeah, everybody
Bobby
forgot.
Told me to express his best wishes.
It's weird. It's like we don't even talk about it. Democrats, the media, they don't. It's weird. They don't want to talk about somebody who tried to kill the president, huh?
He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Let's go. Let's go. We'll find out who the real conspiracy realists are.
And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack.
The Dems never really liked JFK or RFK once he started coming out and running and going against the vaccines and stuff. They don't give him interviews. He's more of like a libertarian type guy, which usually, I say this all the time, that people who don't understand the political compass don't understand this, that libertarian doesn't mean left or right. You can be on the left and be libertarian. You can be on the right and be libertarian. But usually, libertarians align more right.
Last month, but I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions.
I also have an interview. We'll go quickly through the interview, but in the interview, well, I'm spoiling it, but in the interview, RFK says that Trump told him that Trump's legacy, he wants his legacy to be leaving healthy children. If that's the best thing he can do, then That's what he wants his legacy to be, is to leave America with healthy children. So they're saying make America healthy again. And it's true. And this applies to the food we eat. RFK says it all in these few things that where he speaks, but yeah, the food we eat, the chemicals they've put in the food, the climate change, which is, so it's not anthropogenic climate change. It's not man-made. It kind of is. In a way it is, in a way it isn't. The way they mean it, which is because we walk around and we go outside and we drive cars and stuff, that we're changing the climate. That's not why the climate's changing. The anthropogenic climate change, the man-made climate change, is coming from chemicals and crap that they're putting in the air, and they're putting in the food, and they're putting in everywhere, and policies of the government, energy use policies and things like that. That's why the air is dirty. That's why the climate is screwed up, because they hamstring us from being able to use the most efficient, cleanest energy. They fearmonger us about nuclear energy and Chernobyl and all this other bull crap. But France can do it. We're in the Paris Climate Accord, but Paris is allowed to clean up their air with some nuclear energy. Isn't that interesting?
Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health.
And Democrats should love this, because Democrats are all into this stuff. They're into cheaper drugs, cheaper medications, more free health care, more health stuff, healthy people. And I remember Democrats were complaining about insulin prices. There was a meme that was going around. Methadone is free for a drug addict, but insulin is $200 a month for my child. And then Trump did a thing to reduce the cost of insulin. And then Biden came in and executive ordered it out, and then signed a new, put it in the damn Inflation Reduction Act, or one of those bills that he did, and got all the praise for lowering insulin prices when Trump had already done it. But the Democrats didn't know that. They still don't know that because they're dumb.
Problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America to grow up and to live a long and
nothing good
healthy
comes from France.
life. So I just want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside. But I can only tell you, I've known him a long time. We've been a little bit on the opposite side of the equation, but I will say this, he is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young. I always call him young, but he's not that young. But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country. So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Look at that. The handshake. Oh, Robbie's handshake looked a little weak there, buddy. You don't shake Donald Trump's hand with a limp wrist, my boy. You got to grab that thing and shake it.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you. Now, a few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president.
Not easy on the
ears. We had a very
ears.
good talk.
Did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license?
See, you guys cursed me. You talk about ads.
He invited me to come see him the next day, and I went to Minneapolis and saw him. We met again a couple of weeks later in Florida, and we talked about, not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic. Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption? And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted. He also told me that he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy.
Everybody talking about the neocons now.
He said he didn't want any more 200 trillion, 200.
I think that this new way that we're colloquially using the word neocon is actually wrong. They're using it to say new conservative party, which is kind of what neocon means, but the real neocons, I've heard they're using that term wrong from Jordan Peterson.
$100 billion wars in Ukraine, that we could use that money back.
He explained it way better than me what the real neocons were.
Here in the United States. And the safest, the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us?
The original neocons were a band of liberal intellectuals who rebelled against the Democratic Party's leftward drift on defense issues in the 1970s.
Out of the wars, and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country. And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys? They're always the bad guys, because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism. And don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms? And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism?
Bibby,
and I
spoiler
want
alert.
to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Make America healthy again.
And God bless you, and God bless America.
Yes.
My friend Kamala's.
Yes, but get out of here. You see what I'm watching? Why would you give me this ad? Yes, Bibby. Spoiler alert. I was going to talk about this at the end, but maybe we'll watch this too. But yeah. So RFK came out, endorsed Trump, make America healthy again. Join the Trump ticket. RFK Jr. from Fox News. RFK Jr. defends MAGA, teases more to join Trump's unity government. The unity government. RFK Jr. defended the MAGA movement and teased more additions to the unity government he looks to join under former President Trump on Sunday. Kennedy offered his own definition of MAGA in a post on X, arguing Democrats have misinterpreted the movement as regressive. The former presidential candidate dropped out and endorsed Trump on Friday in a major shakeup to the race. Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, and yet at the same time could celebrate its successes, Kennedy wrote. ABC, how much momentum will RFK Jr.'s endorsement give Trump? Polls show Kennedy's supporters only slightly favor the former president. Yeah, well, now there's going to be more of them who favor Trump. Independent presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. announced Friday that he had suspended his campaign for the presidency and endorsed former President Trump, although he said he will remain on the ballot in states that are not competitive at the presidential level. So not the 10 swing states. He won't be on the ballot in those. Kennedy's bid failed to garner enough support to contend in any state, and support for him in national polls fell by nearly half after President Joe Biden dropped out of the running to be the Democratic Party's nominee. Our analysis of the polling data suggests Kennedy's endorsement of Trump will have a minimal impact on the race. I think you're lying. Kennedy, who has consistently polled around 5% since Vice President Kamala Harris became the presumptive nominee, was drawing roughly equally from both Trump and Harris. With that support coming from both traditionally Democratic and traditionally Republican groups, his endorsement of Trump may marginally help the Republican among white, male, and older voters. Oh, you mean like the majority of the voting pool? Older white males and older voters? That's pretty much the vast majority of the people who vote, other than liberal white women who all vote Democrat. But the effect of his departure on overall support for either candidate will be small. I don't know if I agree with you on that, ABC. AP, what polling shows about Americans' views of Robert Kennedy Jr. Recent polls show that Republicans are more likely than Democrats to have a favorable opinion of RFK, who suspended his presidential campaign on Friday and gave his support to Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. During a speech he made in Arizona, Kennedy cited concerns that continuing his campaign would help Democratic nominee Kamala Harris. Yeah, good move. I agree. Thank you, RFK. Because these third-party voters, all it is a way for people who might be like halfway based, but they're not quite based enough to throw their vote away. A guy like Joe Rogan, who probably doesn't even vote, but if he does walk into a polling booth or turn his mail-in ballot in, he might be like, well, I don't really like Trump. He's mean, and I don't like Kamala. I'm just gonna check RFK. Take that option off the ballot and vote for your best likely winner, the best option to win. When I was talking about on a panel I was on, I was talking about the abolitionist rising stuff and abortion, abolitionist versus pro-life politically, from a political stance and for legislation and policy reasons, why we have to kind of play the game in politics. Even though morally I'm 100% abolitionist, no abortion, put the women in jail if they get abortions, no plan B, no condoms. I'm 100% abolition. But from a policy standpoint, from a political standpoint, if we're going to legislate laws, we have to play the game. And Trump does that well. Where was I going with this? Where was I going with this? Anyway, the more moderate voters. They were saying the abolitionist rising people were saying we're not going to vote for Trump because he said 15-week ban. And it's like people were telling me, check out Derek Dieter or some guy. And then I watched the abolitionist rising video and they mentioned him. And it's like, he's not on the ballot. And if he is on the ballot, I'm not throwing away my vote to vote for him. I'm going to vote for somebody who can win, who has the best. When you throw away your vote on some third-party abstract candidate that nobody's going to vote for, you're not helping the situation. All you're doing is helping the person who wants 9-month abortion, post-birth abortion eventually. You want them to have a bigger chance at winning. Help the guy that's moving the goalpost in our direction. We can't. Some radical who wants to radically change things is not going to get elected. There's radical things we could do to take over and make the change happen instantly, but that leads to a lot of death and a lot of problems. Instead, let's just vote for the best option that's going to move the goalpost the most in our direction, and that's Trump. Let's see. There's one more interview here, and then we'll talk about the last little thing, which is actually breaking news from today, which Bibby already spoiled in the chat. Let's watch this. This is 48 minutes. I don't want to watch this full speech. I thought I had an interview on here. There was an interview he did, and I wanted to play that, but I don't have it on here. So instead, this is the speech. We're not going to watch this full speech.
Party which I pledge my own allegiance to.
But we are going to watch the beginning, like first couple minutes, because this is when he dogs on the Democrats and the Republicans, just basically the establishment elite political parties.
My uncle, the party which I pledge my own allegiance to long before I was old enough to vote. I attended my first Democratic convention at the age of 6 in 1960.
Damn.
And back then, the Democrats were the champions of the Constitution, of civil rights. The Democrats stood against authoritarianism, against censorship, against colonialism, imperialism, and unjust wars.
Lame. Well, it's not a movie, Josh. I didn't spoil squat. The against authoritarian. There are authoritarian Democrats too, by the way.
We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy. As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically.
Please don't scroll. Listen to me.
No, I'm not going to listen to you, Hibaji. Hibaji. My name is Hibaji.
It had become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big...
We're going to watch Tulsi next.
...money. When it abandoned democracy by canceling the primary to conceal the cognitive decline of the sitting president, I left the party to run as an independent. The mainstream of American politics and journalism.
Okay, I just want to show why he left the party, but he roasts. This is 48 minutes, but it's pretty good. Good speech. He's got a voice problem, and he can talk better than Joe Biden for 45 minutes. I have not seen this yet. Apparently, this happened today. 6 hours ago is when this video was put up. I saw this when I woke up. Breaking news. We got Tulsi too. We got RFK and Tulsi. You think Tim Walz and Kamala Harris with a camo hat and a goofy DNC are gonna stop Tulsi, RFK, and Trump? That's the left, the center, South, libertarians, Democrats. She left the Democratic Party a couple years ago or a year or so ago. I forget when we talked about it when it happened. for a more centrist party. But yeah. How you guys messing with this ticket now? There's no way that we're losing this election except, well, since it's an American election, there is a way. Yeah, she's looking like Rogue or Storm. One of those. It's Rogue. She looked like Rogue. She could play Rogue in a movie. Trump has Clint Eastwood. That's all I care about. Nice.
Welcome another true American patriot, a 17-year veteran of the Hawaii Army National Guard, a 4-term Democrat congresswoman, very, very popular, the former vice chair of the National Democratic Party and a 2020 Democrat candidate for the United States presidency. You know, she was a very good candidate. Every time she ran, she was good. She did well. She decided to leave. She couldn't take it anymore, but she is very special. And I didn't know this, but she was a lieutenant colonel. That's not bad. Lieutenant colonel. Not bad. I didn't know that. You know, I just found out. I said, put it down. You got to put that down. That's bigger. That's better than all the other stuff I read. But no, she's a special person. She's got great common sense, great spirit. She loves our country, and she loves the people in this room. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, please.
Tulsi, please. Damn, Tulsi had a stronger handshake than old RFK did.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Aloha. I know we got Hawaii in the house here.
Why are you saying goodbye?
There we go. It is a privilege to be here with all of you, my brothers and sisters.
Cameraman, get on your job. Maybe it's because they want Trump and her in the frame, but Trump, you got to scoot a little closer. Get on your X. Cameraman almost cutting Tulsi out of the dang frame.
Sisters in uniform, especially on this day of all days. I had the privilege of joining President Trump this morning at Arlington Cemetery.
And we're not in focus, cameraman.
He joined 2 Gold Star families and loved ones of Staff Sergeant Hoover and Sergeant G, both of whom were 2 of the 13.
Focus, cameraman. You're moving in. You're panning in. Thank you. But we need focus.
Killed in the Abbey Gate attack.
There you go.
3 years ago.
See, the cameraman listens to me. See, I would be a better cameraman because I knew he needed to fix that focus before he did.
Today in Kabul. And I can tell you, as we were there, as he laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, joining these Marines' loved ones, I felt the sorrow that he shared with them in their loss. I felt and saw his sincere appreciation for these servicemen and women who paid the ultimate price and their loved ones who continue to grieve to this day. This is personal for me, as I know it is for so many of you here. This is real. It's not just words. I first deployed to Iraq in 2005 with the Hawaii Army National Guard as a member of Charlie.
Unlike Tim Walz.
Med. As those of you who were deployed during that time know, it was the height of the war, and sadly, we took many casualties. And every day we were confronted with that high human cost of war and that sadness as we...
Have you ever seen a close-up of her, though, Bibby? She's got real bad, like, pock marks all over her face. Looking like Pol Pot up close.
We boarded the plane when we left, that we were leaving some of our brothers and sisters behind.
I'm sorry, that was not Pol Pot. That was Stalin. Stalin was the one that had the pock marks all over his face. It was from a thing he had when he was a kid. Maybe she had it.
Only to lose others when we got home to suicide. So I mean what I say when I share with you that I know that President Trump
Skin
understands
silky
the
smooth.
grave responsibility that
Oh.
a president and commander-in-chief bears for every single one of our lives. Whether you're a soldier, you're an airman, a Marine, sailor, or a coastie, he keeps us in his heart in the decisions that he makes. We saw this through his first term in the presidency, when he not only didn't start any new wars, he took action to de-escalate and prevent wars. He exercised the courage that we expect from our commander-in-chief in exhausting all measures of diplomacy, having the courage to meet with adversaries, dictators, allies, and partners alike in the pursuit of peace, seeing war as a last resort. The truth is, as we head towards our decision as a country,
Tulsi had an interview with, man, I can't remember any of the people who I watched the interviews with this week. Oh, it's because I had never heard of this guy. He's some British guy. I had never heard of him before, but she did an interview with him, and she said she's real big on anti-war stuff. She was calling out all of the warmongers by name, and she said that used the neocon line as well, which is not what the original neocons were. They weren't warmongering conservatives. They were liberals who were against intellectuals, liberal intellectuals who were against the Democratic Party's leftward drift on defense issues. So now the neocons are pro-war neocons. Kind of weird.
in November, the same cannot be
Weird.
said
Don't say weird.
about Kamala Harris. In fact, the opposite is true, and we're living through this reality today as
Don't besmirch DeSantis like that.
this administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief.
Joe Rogan, I wonder if you're going to have him on your show now that your girl Tulsi and your boy RFK both endorsed Trump. What are you going to do now, Rogan? The ball's in your court, buddy. I want to see Trump sit down with Joe for a 3-hour stream. That would be freaking amazing. In studio. I don't think it would happen like that. I think that's maybe why Joe doesn't want to do it, because he doesn't want to go wear a suit and do it in a thing. He just wants to do it at the studio.
Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its political opponents and undermining our civil liberties, weaponizing our very institutions against those they deem as a threat. Kamala Harris has done this over the last 3.5 years. She won't hesitate to continue that if she is elected as president. President Trump has been their first and foremost.
Theo's interview with Trump was great. I wanted to play some clips from it last time, but he's real sensitive with his material, so maybe I'd have to play it at like 2x speed and pause it a whole lot. But
target in this because they don't want us as voters to even have the option to vote for him. I've been their most recent target, added to a secret domestic terror watch list after exposing the truth about what kind of dangers we would face if Kamala Harris is elected as president. We as Americans must stand together to reject this anti-freedom culture of political retaliation and abuse of power. We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future. I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Let's go. Let's go, dude. We're building an army out here.
And today I'm honored to officially welcome another troop.
You ain't stopping Trump. You ain't stopping Trump. Is you crazy? Dang. So crazy week in politics. Big week. Dubs. We're taking some dubs. We're taking some dubs out here. Let's go. Still doesn't know what Haktua means. Don't worry about it. It's degenerate, baby. It's degenerate. All right. Dang, we're almost at 8 o'clock. And I haven't even gotten to the memes. I haven't even started the memes yet. That's all right, because you know what we got? You know what I got for you? I got some freaking memes! Me watching my video game character get a full night of sleep while I'm up all night playing the damn video game. Little Zelda taking a nap. Isn't that crazy? In video games, your character gets more sleep than you do when you're playing a video game. Dang. Next! Fly on my food again. I dare you. Damn! Dang. We got dang old John Wayne Gacy of the Flies. Lord of the Flies Gacy up in here. Poor fly. Dang. Next. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's methamphetamine. That woman is wearing a shopping cart. What the hell? Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's a methamphetamine. You see this lady coming at you in the streets, you better run. Next. The biggest Super Bowl in history is coming up November 5th. It's the Patriots versus the Steelers. Next. You don't have to be a Bible thumper to be disturbed by a drag show with kids, dark symbolism, and someone's balls hanging out at a sporting event. Exactly. Beta! Next. Justin Bieber 2020 looks like he's trying to convince Justin Bieber of 2009 to get into his van. Next. Tim Walsh, his unit in Iraq. His unit in Iraq they're covering the president. Get on him, get down. Is that a gun on Trump's hip? Oh no, that's one of the Secret Service agents. And then Tim Walsh is over here. I don't know if I want to go. Tim Walsh is a beta. That's right. Next. Tim Walsh Valor. He stole it. It's stolen. It's freaking stolen. Dang. Next. Dems on their way to vote for the nominee they didn't choose. Dems, Democrats, you know, the ones who like to vote and choose who and vote for their candidates and on their policies and all that. Dems on their way to vote for the nominee they didn't vote for. Huh. Speaking of John Wayne Gacy. Next. Sprayed Febreze in my bathroom. Now it smells like citrus. Citrus. You get it? Citrus. It smells like citrus. No? No? What's that saying? The only Super Bowl I might watch. Yeah. Next. What gives people feelings of power? Money? Status? Knowing I've won as many primaries as Kamala. It's off the charts. Next. The economy is so bad right now that even Joe Biden's job is being outsourced to an Indian? Oh, no. That's not nice. Next. Being bullied, just act less gay, advises teachers. Yep.
Beta!
Yep. Being bullied, just act less gay. Nice. Next. Woman climbs Mount Everest to prove vegans aren't weak and dies. At least she died doing what she loved most, telling everyone she was a vegan. Damn.
Beta!
Next. Yoga master, Jägermeister. Yoda master, Jägermeister. Yoda master, Jägermeister. They both look the same. Next. Never forget North and South Towers. Forget Tower 7. Never forget the two towers. Forget Tower 7.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Even though Bush was president at that time, it still has to do with politicians murdering a guy. Next. People who have the most annoying fan bases. Taylor Swift, Karl Marx, Barack Obama, and Baphomet. What the heck? Baphomet? No. Nice. Next. The Bidens started their own website, Ancestry.com. Oh, no.
Beta!
Ancestry.com. What was chat talking about? Mount Everest is 29,032 feet. Okay. Awesome. Learn something new every day. Do you know Mount Everest isn't actually the tallest mountain? There's two mountains in Hawaii that are like 3 times as tall as Mount Everest, but the majority of them is underwater. And I don't know if that should count. I don't think that counts. Anyway, next. This is the one I wanted last week. And that's why I was fired from my last job. It's Tim Waltz. Boss, here's a balloon. Blow it up. He starts blowing up a balloon. Happy birthday. Oh, it's Tim Waltz sucking a horse. He's sucking on a horse.
Beta!
I didn't even understand this meme until I thought of Tim Waltz. Next. I miss when men would go to war and die. And then Nick responds, there was food rationing back then. You sure? Damn, girl. Do it. Do it. What's chat saying? Yeah, they're underwater. Exactly. Exactly. Next. Make your fish look bigger. He's one crafty son of a fish. See, this took me a little while to figure out what was happening here. That looks like a giant fish, right? Till you realize he's got hand fingers. He's got hand fingers. Look at his hand fingers. Nice. Nice. Next. Swimmers just before the water's surface tension is broken. Look at that. That's a crazy picture. Swimmers just before the water's surface tension is broken. Then somebody commented, what if the water just don't you let out? Hold on, I messed it up. What if the water just don't let you out one day? What if the water just don't let you out one day? You'd be effed. You'd be effed. Next. Me fails captcha 4 times. Me. My hand must be a robot. Get to the chopper, get down. My hand is a robot. I've messed up captchas a bunch of times too. Because sometimes it's like, I can't really tell if this little edge considered part of the bus, or is that a bus way off in the distance over there? I'm supposed to find all the ones that have the bus. There's this bus here. There could be a bus over there around that corner. I just don't know. Am I a robot? Am I a robot? Wow, wow. Next. Bro, these these ray gun memes are never going to get old. This one's funny because as a Dragon Ball fan, if you know Dragon Ball, you know this is the infamous Yamcha death pose. Yamcha's died like 20 times. Yamcha's always getting his ass whooped, and he's always on the ground like this. This is when Yamcha got blasted into the dirt. Nice. Next. This is not pro-disabled. This is anti-homeless architecture disguised as disabled accommodation. Don't be fooled. Who cares? It does look stupid, though. And it is kind of smart if it is anti-homeless technology. So I'm not fooled, but I don't care. Next. Straight to hell we go. Ah! AI can be funny sometimes, but it turns into nightmare fuel when you look at this lady's legs and you realize she's either got 2 penises that she put shoes on, or the AI gave her 4 legs. What the heck? What is that? Anyway, like the tracks are bending. The thing is like curved in the middle. And they don't have any safety devices on. I hope that thing doesn't go upside down. I guess the centripetal force would hold him in. But next, I dare someone to step to me today. It's a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger thing. Nice. Nice. Don't even step to me today. I got that blicky on me. My Mighty Morphin Power Rangers emblem. Call me Jason. Let's go next. This one's funny. Another Arnold Schwarzenegger one. Stallone says, I'm making a movie. I'm making a movie about composers. I'm playing Beethoven. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Hold on. How does Van Damme talk? I'll be Mozart. I'll be Mozart. How does Jean-Claude Van Damme talk? He's like Puerto Rican. I'd have to watch something. With Van Damme. Hey, yo, I'm making a movie about composers. I'm playing Beethoven. Van Damme says, I'll be Mozart. Schwarzenegger says, stop it, guys. I'm not saying it. Stop it, guys. I'm not saying it. Get it? Because if Stallone is Beethoven and Van Damme is Mozart, what would Schwartz say? I'll be Beethoven. I'll be Mozart. Who would Arnold be? I'll be Bach. I'll be Bach. Get it? Hey, yo, I'll be Beethoven. I'll be Mozart. Stop it, guys. I'll be Bach. I thought this was great. This is the meme of the week. Next. I paused the original 1990s Ninja Turtles movie at the exact wrong second, and now I'm traumatized. What? There's a mouth in that mouth. Ah! That's nightmare fuel. I didn't know that damn Donatello was a xenomorph. What the? Bach. Yes, I'll be Bach. Okay, next. Least attractive male hobbies. Playing video games. Collecting figurines. Do Legos count? Magic tricks. I don't have that one. Online trolling. Yeah. Gambling. Not much of a gambler. I got 3 out of 5 of the most unattractive, the least attractive male hobbies. I got 3 out of 5 on the list. This is a new study that come out recently, and I'm on the list. You see, I am actually an incel. I am an incel. I'm not a volcel because I don't believe in free will. I don't voluntarily choose to have all of the unattractive qualities of a male. I don't voluntarily choose to not go out to the bar and pick up a random hoe just so I can have sex with her. I don't voluntarily. That's involuntary. That's God made me that way. You see what God just did to us, man? I wonder what the most attractive are. Yeah, that would be interesting. Next. There really was a time when men drove in peace. Yo, we need these in cars. The wife seat in the trunk. Let's go with the wife seat in the trunk. Hey.
It's a man, baby.
Nice. I wish I could buy one of these.
Wait till I get my money right.
Next. Worst urinal I've ever used. Blows piss everywhere. 1 out of 10. SMH. That would be so funny. Could you imagine somebody comes from Japan or something? Like, oh, what is this new American urinal technology? Oh, let me try. They just pee. They just pee all over themselves. Dang.
Beta!
Next. Wheels on the shopping cart. Oh, wait. Not wheels on the cart. Go round and round. Wheels on the shopping cart be like. This guy's an alpha. This chick.
Beta!
Not so much. Not so much. Next. The in-law seat. Is that what it's called? The in-law seat. That's the mother-in-law seat. Mother-in-law seat. Oh, so that's a real thing. I heard that was a real thing, but then I saw the meme and I wasn't sure. Bro, ray guns in my nightmares. Meme of the day. I didn't call this the meme of the day. Somebody else did. My meme of the day is the Arnold one, but meme of the day. Ah! RFK and Trump joining forces. I got most of those on my own. They built up in my phone over time. I got only a couple from Stubborn One. So next week, he doesn't need to send any because there's a bunch still in that folder, in that group chat that I can use. But I got a couple of them from him this week. Trump adds a Kennedy and hopes he will draw all the sniper fire. So true. Next. Thank you, Babylon B. These flower shells are shotgun shells loaded with flower seeds instead of birdshot or buckshot. These shells can be shot into the ground to plant flowers. The idea is that instead of taking life from the world, you'll be giving life back. And then it says, the dude that tried to break into my house. Why is there a bouquet going out of this dude's freaking dome piece? That's awesome. Her strong suit isn't power moves, it's creativity. Oh, ray gun? Yeah. Next. Young girl has bought food. On her way home, she must use an airsoft machine gun to avoid being attacked and the food stolen by the monkeys. This is probably in I believe that, I don't know if the gun's real because I don't think they would be even allowed to have guns. Maybe airsoft guns. But I do know that there are monkey thieves in some of these Asian countries, like I don't know where, like damn Serbia or I don't know, Taiwan or Thailand or something like that. They got dang thief monkeys. These monkeys have been known to steal babies off of motorcycles. Watch out for the damn attack monkeys, y'all. Next. Oh god, it's another one. Scream. I wish I had my psycho soundboard sound. It's in my computer somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Wonder if I could find it real quick. Because I probably would have just named it Psycho. I do have it. It's right here. Ready? Okay, enough of that. Wrong movie, but still a good sound. Next. Shark that killed New York City woman confirmed as great white, and it's still out there. LMFAO, was it supposed to turn itself in? What do you think the shark's gonna... Yeah, it's still out there. Damn. Unless we catch this fish. Well, sometimes I like to go out. So you catch the fish catches you. What does that guy say? Show me the way to go home. Bum bum, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Its eyes are black. You look into the eyes of that fish. It looks back at you. You don't catch that fish catches you. Next. When I asked how monkeypox is spread, I never get a straight answer. No. This sound effect is called rim shot. Rim shot. Get it? Monkey. Speaking of monkeys, next. David Hogg says, you know, I was not at the school that day. And Walt says, no problem. I never went to Iraq. Both of them. Double betas. And that's it, guys, for the memes. All right. Some good memes this week. What's chat up to? What the chat on ball? What the chat on ball? We're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, that's not the guy I'm trying to do the captain. I can't remember any of his quotes. Well done with the close-up. Right after he says ray gun is giving him nightmares, I pull up the ray gun shining, breaking through the door meme. That was perfect timing. All right. Let's open this rapid fire news up. I got some funny reels this week. Bookmarks. Reels and rapid fire. We're going to burn through these stories because it's already 8:12 and we're going to need at least 40 minutes for the Shroud of Turin, maybe an hour. A lot of stuff on the Shroud of Turin. Just ignore that sound, guys. Ignore that sound. I'm not watching gay porn, I promise. Okay, no. Hold on. It's getting dark in here. All right. You ready for some funny videos before we get into rapid fire news? Check this out. Bro, what did I just watch? First off, if I'm hearing these sounds coming from a sewer, have you never seen the movie It? Everything floats down here, Georgie. You don't freaking... If you're hearing these noises coming from a sewer grate, you don't go stick your hand in the sewer with your phone. Bad idea. Guys, if you're not up to date on your wildlife studies, this is an otter. This is an otter having coitus with a raccoon. Okay? Or at least trying to. Look, he's biting the neck. He's holding it down. He's got it mounted. He's trying to get up in this raccoon. We got to watch this again. Look at this dummy walking up to a sewer grate with these noises coming from it. They're getting it on.
What the fuck did I walk in on? Oh, God.
Get out of here, Kill Tony. That's awesome. Interspecies erotica. Yes. We're playing interspecies erotica on the show now. Oh, this is funny. All right. I'm good at this game. He says, I'm good at this game. It's spin the lighter.
Zone got smoked the whole thing. Oh, man. Shit. Me again. All right. All right, Grip and Zone got smoked the whole thing. Oh man, shit, me again. All right.
There's no shoes. There's no feet in those shoes. So it's funny. It's double funny because first it's funny because he just spins it to himself, and then as he stands up, you see they were fighting. The other was winning. Yeah, well, love and war, I guess they say. There's no other people there, though. That's why it's funny again. What is this one? Oh, this is funny. Oh, look, a little family puzzle. We're doing a little family puzzle tonight. And that looks like a hard puzzle. That puzzle would suck. That looks like it's either 1,000 or 2,000 piece puzzle. I've actually been wanting to buy a puzzle. They're only like $10 and do a puzzle on stream. See how fast I could do like a 1,000 piece puzzle. They say 1,000 piece puzzle takes like 20 hours. I think I could do it faster, but maybe I'll start with a 500 piece, see how long that takes me to do on a stream. But anyway, this looks like 1,000 piece puzzle and it's just water. It's all blue. It's just water. This will be a very difficult puzzle to put together.
One more piece.
One more piece.
Piece.
One more time. One more piece.
One more piece.
That's epic. I love it. Dude, doing a puzzle on a stream would be amazing. I know. I know it would be epic, huh?
Oh, okay. Grandma, you stay here just for a second. Be right back, okay? Stay there. Grandma.
Poor grandma. Poor grandma. Let's go. What's this one? Oh, this is fun.
Ready, go!
Wow. Nice. Get out of here. Okay. New York Times not going to let me read this article. That's okay. Because we have it from another place. All right. Let's get into rapid fire news. We got one big story in rapid fire news. We'll cover this first. From AP, French authorities arrest Telegram CEO Pavel Durov at a Paris airport, French media reports. So this is him. So when I first saw this last night, my first thoughts are it's kind of like the Silk Road thing. But then I've been thinking about it more, and Elijah Schaefer did an episode on this tonight, And we see the stochastic terrorism stuff. We see how they're cracking down on people for free speech and censorship and stuff like that. This could be a more nefarious plot. So off the rip, my first thoughts are, well, if it's like Silk Road, I know there's a lot of CP, a lot of the predator poachers and like predator hunters on the internet. They find people through Telegram because Telegram's like the Wild West of the internet. The chat rooms and the pages and the memes and everything is, you could post anything on Telegram. And so what a lot of people are saying is the reason this is happening is because, like Silk Road, people are using Telegram to buy and sell drugs, traffic children, abuse of children, CP, stuff like that. But after thinking about it more, Telegram is not set up as a marketplace as far as I know. Now, if there is a marketplace in it, then he should be able to help them crack down on that market. And this is why nobody is really a free speech absolutist. Everybody, I'm against censorship. I'm totally free speech. Yo, you don't appreciate the First Amendment and all that other lame stuff. In reality, you ask them enough questions, you'll find out there are things that they want censored. They want a lot of conservatives want pornography censored. I think we can all agree that CP is bad. It's evil. We don't want that. We want that censored. We don't want sexual things being promoted to children. We don't like the child drag queen story hours. The left, they have their censorship. The right has their censorship. There is a healthy amount of censorship, which you guys are on my authoritarian channel. You know, I'll ban you for whatever. I'll just ban you because I don't like you. You just say something that annoys me, I'll kick you out of the kingdom. Okay? But so Telegram, some people are saying that this is actually a crackdown on free speech, more censorship. They don't want people to be able to organize and talk about these things that they don't like, which I could see that too. If it is about the CP and stuff like that, then he needs to cooperate with the government that took him in, and he needs to help them capture some of these predators and stuff like that. And he can do that he has all the data, all the tech, all the code. He needs to expose these people, and then he can get out of some serious trouble. Let's read a little bit of the article though, so we can get more information from AP. In Nietzsche, it's spelled nice, but I'm guessing it's Nietzsche, France. The founder and CEO of the messaging service Telegram was detained at a Paris airport on an arrest warrant, alleging his platform has been used for money laundering, drug trafficking, and other offenses. French media reported Sunday. So, but see, it's not the same as Silk Road, because Silk Road was specifically so you could buy things and sell things, illicit products. Whereas Telegram is just a messaging app. So if people are setting up these things on Telegram, how is that? Would you, in a RICO case with the mafia or something, you wouldn't go after AT&T because they were using AT&T phones. You wouldn't go after the federal mail system if somebody is sending drugs through the mail. You wouldn't go after the mail system. You go after the person who's buying and doing all the illegal things. So, yeah, this seems kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. Pavel, unless there's a marketplace in Telegram that I don't know about and they were letting this stuff go on, we're probably going to need to wait for more information on this. Pavel Durov, a dual citizen of France and Russia, was taken into custody at Paris Le Bourget airport on Saturday evening after landing in France from Azerbaijan, according to broadcasters LC1 and TF1. Investigators from the National Anti-Fraud Office attached to the French Customs Department notified Durov, 39, that he was being placed in police custody, the broadcaster said. Durov's representatives couldn't be immediately reached for comment. French prosecutors declined to comment on Durov's arrest when contacted by the Associated Press on Sunday, in line with regulations during an ongoing investigation. French media reported that the warrant for Durov was issued by France at the request of the special unit at the county's Interior Ministry in charge of investigating crimes against minors. Those include online sexual exploitation such as possession and distribution of child sexual abuse content and grooming for sexual purposes. Right. So But here's the thing. If somebody sent pictures of CP to another person in the mail, you don't go after the mail system. Now, if they're selling children on there and there's some sort of marketplace feature and they're using this feature to sell children, then he can be held accountable. Or he could just work with, I don't know if the feds in France are like the feds in America, with that Silk Road guy, where he had a choice. He could have got out of that prison sentence if he would have just exposed his users, if he would have given up the information, but he didn't work with them. So this guy may be able to, maybe something good comes from this. Maybe he can expose a lot of these PDF files. And if he can do that and then get out of serving time for it, and then they can make some slightly more stringent censorship on Telegram to censor this sort of thing, illegal activities, then maybe something good can come from this. But I'm not. There may be more dangerous incentives here. They may say it's to save the children, but really it's to shut down speech and people talking about things that they don't like them talking about. Durov, the company added, has nothing to hide and travels frequently in Europe. It is absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform, Telegram's post said. Almost 1 billion users globally use Telegrams as a means of communications and as a source of vital information. We're awaiting a prompt resolution of this situation. Telegram is with you all. Telegram continued to be widely used, including by government institutions, and the ban was dropped, so there was a ban on Telegram. Right, so they've been coming after Telegram for a while. A French judicial official suggested that Durov could appear before a judge later Sunday to determine whether he would remain in custody. The official wasn't authorized to be named publicly during an ongoing investigation. If the person concerned is to be brought before a judge today, it is only in the context of the possible extension of his police custody measure, a decision that must be taken and notified by an investigative judge. So that's crazy. We'll keep our eye on that for more updates and information on that. We're going to do quick Russia and Israel updates. For Russia, a member of British journalist team dies after Russian missile hits hotel in eastern Ukraine. Yeah, meanwhile, Ukraine is still occupying Kursk, and they don't really care about that. They're like, good job, Ukraine. Keep invading Russia. And then, I bet this hotel has been hit by missiles 50 times over the past 100 years. You know what I mean? I don't mean that it's actually been hit. I mean, it got hit with a missile once like 50 years ago, and they just keep using the same footage over and over again. Kiev, Ukraine, a British safety advisor working with a team of Reuters journalists was killed when a Russian missile struck a hotel in the Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk. The news agency confirmed. Ryan Evans, 38, was staying at the Hotel Sapphire with colleagues in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region when it was hit by a Russian missile Saturday night. 2 other members of the 6-person Reuters crew were hospitalized with injuries. Local officials said the hotel was struck by an Iskander-M Russian ballistic missile, leaving the reporters with blast injuries, concussions, and cuts to the body. That's from AP. Israel update real quick. Israel and Hezbollah exchanged strikes before pulling back, jolting region amid Gaza ceasefire talks. Israel and Hezbollah. Oh, so that was a big thing this week. They're going at it. Hezbollah attacked Israel with one of the biggest missile attacks since October 7th. So Hezbollah and Israel are going at it. And jolting region amid Gaza ceasefire talks. So they've been having ceasefire talks in Gaza, and then Hezbollah attacks Israel all out. Let's read this from CBS News. Israel and Hezbollah militant group launched their heaviest exchange of fire after months of strikes and counterstrikes. By mid-morning Sunday, it appeared to have ended, with both sides saying they only aimed at military targets. Authorities in Lebanon said the Israeli strikes killed 3 people, while Israel said one of its soldiers was killed. President Biden is closely monitoring the event. Sure he is. In Israel and Lebanon, at his direction, senior U.S. officials have been communicating continuously with their Israeli counterparts. National Security Council spokesman Sean Sabat said in a statement. The Israeli Mizrael said around 100 warplanes launched the airstrike, targeting thousands of rocket launchers across southern Lebanon. It said it struck because Hezbollah was planning to launch a heavy barrage of rockets and missiles toward Israel. Soon after, Hezbollah announced it launched an attack on Israeli military positions with a large number of drones. The Iranian, I wonder who's paying for those drones. China or America's paying China to send drones to Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed group had been promising for weeks to retaliate for Israel's assassination of Fuad Shakur, one of its founding members in Beirut last month. We talked about that when it happened. It's just a little Israel and Russia propaganda update. What else we got? Weather. We got the weather. Hurricane season. We like covering all the hurricanes. Let me see what chat's saying first. Bro, that reminds me of the kid who rides his bike in an electric fence. Is that Nick, the Telegram guy? There will probably be many attacks all over. They got to get their licks in before Trump gets back in office. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Weather, it's hurricane season. We got one on the West Coast now, near Hawaii, which normally we hear them mostly in the East Coast. But, you know, Bill Gates is playing with the weather machine. So you never know. Hurricane Hone, soaks Hawaii with flooding rain. Another storm approaching. Let's see if this ad, screw this ad. I'm just going to read it. Dual hurricane threats are zeroing in on Hawaii, a rare combination that could bring impactful rain and winds to the islands twice within a week. I guess there was that hurricane. Those two hurricanes joined and they hit California last year. The big island of Hawaii was under a tropical storm warning until it was discontinued early afternoon Sunday after Hurricane Hone had passed south of the island with its sustained winds down to 80 miles per hour. The storm had gained Category 1 status overnight and made its presence felt despite not delivering a direct hit. Really, it's been kind of a weak hurricane season this year. Let's see this. Big Island of Hawaii, we just read that. Sustained wind of 80 miles an hour and dropped 18 inches of rainfall, increasing flash floods and mudslide threats. Hone is expected to weaken, but still hit smaller islands with gusty winds and substantial rain. Bro, palm trees be chilling in a hurricane. Palm trees like, we're all right. We're built for this. We can grow sideways. And we don't have a bunch of leaves to catch the wind. They're like built for this. Category 3 Hurricane Gilma. Oh, we got a Category 3 coming in. Gilma, that's almost as bad as Hilga, is approaching the island but is expected to weaken.
Got down power lines. I just ran over it. Whoops.
Why are you walking around in the middle of the woods? 2 named storms have not come within 300 miles of the main Hawaiian Islands in a week span since 1992, according to AccuWeather. Just watch out for fires. Watch out for laser attacks. Satellites with freaking lasers on their freaking heads. Satellites with freaking lasers on their freaking heads. Nice. Not nice, but you know what I mean. All right. So lots of hurricanes in Hawaii. Drum Circle local news for Utah. I thought this was funny. They posted this on the drum. I always give you guys Scum Circle updates. So apparently this guy made a post on some website that he was threatening to shoot up the Drum Circle. And the comments, the first comment is, so now we turn to doxing. Nice. Bro, he said he was going to bring an AK and post a bunch of pictures, said he was going to shoot up the Drum Circle. This guy says, so now we turn to doxing. Nice. What are the replies saying? This isn't meant to out anyone or even banish him. I'm sure he came to drum and everyone all spoke it could be squashed and maybe he could gain some friends. Right. I guess he got kicked out of the Drum Circle and he got pissed, so he started posting that he was going to shoot it up. The cops were there yesterday, but it didn't happen. I just thought that comment was funny. So we doxing now? Well, he's threatening to shoot up the place. I mean, maybe we should get this known. Here's another crazy local story. 3 Utahns, and I want to go out and explore like Moab and these whirlpools and these cave springs and stuff that we have out in the desert. This is some nightmare fuel, though. 3 Utahns drown, and this is from ABC4.com, in whirlpool during canyoneering trip in the Sierra Nevadas. Salt Lake City, 3 Utahns. So I don't know if they were in Utah when it happened, but there are 3 people from Utah. 3 Utahns died after being caught in a whirlpool. A whirlpool, like I imagine, like in a movie, like it's sucking you down a drain. That's crazy. During a canyoneering trip in Sierra Nevada mountain range on Friday, according to the Tulare County Fire Department. Fire officials responded to a possible drowning at 7 Teacups, a hiking area in Tulare County, California, just before 5:20 p.m. on Friday. Upon arrival on the scene, fire persons found 3 people deceased. That's wild. The 3 were rappelling in the area, and on their last rappel, they went down into a pool of water. Janine went first, according to Cindy, and got caught in a whirlpool just after Peter jumped in to save her and became caught as well. David then jumped. This is the story we did a couple weeks ago about the but these people aren't black. These people are white. But about the guy that jumped out of his boat and like 3 people drowned. They were all trying to save one person who fell in the water. Or the dad drowned. But anyway, you don't jump into the whirlpool to save your friend in a whirlpool. And then when 2 of your friends are in the whirlpool, you don't also jump in the whirlpool. You got to get a rope to them, or you got to get help somehow. They were able to get their bodies out in about 7 minutes, and they did CPR on them immediately and kept doing CPR for 20 minutes, but they were not able to revive any of them. Cindy wrote in a Facebook post on Saturday, the bodies will go to the coroner, and then I'm not sure how we get the bodies back to Utah. That's wild. That's wild. Let's see. Now we got some oddities news. We got some oddity news. Then we got one more big, gross, nasty, weird cess stuff story for this week. From AP, methamphetamine disguised as a shipment of watermelon seized at the U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego. Remember last week we were... Bro, I saw this on my phone, and I saved this from my phone. And I thought it was like a watermelon that they hollowed out and put drugs in, but it's not. Look at this. It's just a bundle. It's a plastic bundle with tape wrapped around it, and it's painted to look like a watermelon. What the? And then some real, look, there's some fake watermelons, and then these don't look anything like real watermelons. Bro. Remember last week we were talking about candy with meth in it? And now there's a whole watermelon full of meth. Could you imagine if somebody donated these to a church? They cut the watermelon, just meth falls out everywhere. What the world? Damn, there's a lot of them. A truckload of methamphetamine disguised as a shipment of watermelons was seized at the U.S.-Mexico border crossing in San Diego. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said methamphetamine valued at more than $5 million was found on August 16th when the cargo aboard a tractor trailer from Mexico was unloaded for a detailed inspection, the agency said in a statement. Among real watermelons, officers found 1,220 packages wrapped in paper colored to look like watermelon skins. The total weight of the amount of the packages weighed 4,587 pounds, something kilogram. I don't believe in that. And testing determined the contents were methamphetamine. The truck driver was turned over to Homeland Security investigations. Dang. Meth melons. You got some dang meth melons, girl. Water methans. That's racist. Oh, the black guy. Well, it's true. Swimming? Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right. This one's funny. Also from AP Oddities. Some oddities news. Check this out. College Town's police say they don't need help with cleanup after beer spill. No, duh. You're in a college town. They're like, we got this, guys. We can clean it up for you. We can clean this up, guys. Don't worry. Kids, just wait till passing period and we'll clean this up real fast. We don't need any help cleaning up all this beer. A college town in Mississippi temporarily closed down a street Wednesday after a delivery. It's a lot of Bud Light, though. Nobody wants that. That's all going to be left behind. After a delivery truck dropped dozens of cases of beer. Spill happened in Oxford. Oxford Police Department posted photos on social media and asked drivers to avoid the area for a while. Don't drive over here and take all the beer and be drunk driving. Please use another route, and no, you cannot come help clean up. Everybody was probably, can I come help clean up that beer that they spilled? That truckload of beer? All right, last story for rapid fire, and then I need to turn my air conditioner on, and then we will talk about the Shroud of Turin. Beer. Last story. So you guys know what Philadelphia was doing this week? I can't even show this picture. I can't even show this picture because this is from Axios Philadelphia, and they have a photo here. I wonder if I can get away with showing this. I can't, because if somebody like pauses and zooms in and reports me, there's some titties right in the front. Right in the front, there's a pair of titties. Anyway, Axios Philadelphia. Biking in your birthday suit this weekend in Philadelphia. It's that time of year. Cyclists will bear it all on Philadelphia streets this weekend for the annual Naked Bike Ride. I think we covered this last year, actually. Why it matters. Biking in the buff or witnessing the stripped-down cyclists is a Philly rite of passage, and the popular event has grown into the largest on the East Coast in the world Naked Bike Ride movement. What they're saying, the ride represents the quirkiness of the city and our less serious side. Oh, yeah, it's quirky. It's just quirky that we let a bunch of grown-ass adults ride through the streets naked, wieners and titties flopping everywhere. That's what the children need to see. Philly Naked Bike Ride rolls off at 5 p.m. Saturday, and the dress code is as bare as you dare. How is this not public indecency? How is this allowed? Roughly 12-mile route, mostly within Center City, remains top secret until 5 p.m. tonight, when it will be shared to the organizers' social media. A pre-ride event and body painting will start at 2 p.m. The event aims to promote cycling as a greener alternative to gas-dependent modes of transportation while spreading degeneracy to children. No, I'm kidding. While spreading a message of body positivity. This is gross. I can't even show the picture. This is from Axios Philadelphia, and like, if I showed the picture, you wouldn't see anything because it's a... I want to pull it up, but I want to pull it up, but if I look close, there's some titties right there. Like, I don't see no, like, wieners flopping or nothing, but one girl in the front definitely got the titties out. Don't call my car topless. Say the titties is out. So I can't show that picture, but here's I guess some safer pictures. Philly Naked Bike Ride through Benjamin Franklin Parkway on Saturday. Right down the main avenue. Right into the city. I gotta be careful if pictures pop up. But yeah, the picture that I can't show you guys, there's a lot of them. This is easily... I mean, and I can't even see the full parade line, but that's easily 400 people right here. Just naked, wieners flopping, boobies bouncing, riding through the streets. Who doesn't like a nice bike ride? Oh, who doesn't like a nice rack? Am I right? Yeah, but I can't show it on YouTube. So, Philly Naked Bike Ride. Pride Month's over. Why don't they do that in Pride Month when everybody's walking around parading naked anyway? It's like we have to have some naked parade and naked parade. We got to have adults walking around wieners out around the children every month of the year in every Democrat city. It's disgusting. But anyway, guys, that's it for all the news today. I'm going to turn my air conditioner on, and we're going to get into this last second. We're going to talk about the Shroud of Turin. Give me 1 second. All right. Give me 1 second. Oh. I don't need my Bible. We'll just read it off the thing. All right, guys. Let me open this folder. Looking forward to the Shroud stuff. I've only heard a couple things here and there. Oh, we got everything on it. Open a new window. All right. Sorry, Echo. I'm trying to find some good music. Where's the one that I used to use? All right, guys. It's time to talk about the Shroud of Turin, also known as the Holy Shroud. This is what is believed to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ. It was found. It was aged. They've held it. There was writings about it as far back as 500 AD. Stories were told about it. It came to be in Italy, in Turin, in the 1500s. Recently, in 1993, I believe, it was carbon dated. They actually cut an 8-centimeter piece out of the corner of it, and they carbon dated it, which is horrible, by the way, that they cut a piece out of it. They carbon dated it. The carbon dating techniques, carbon-14, placed it at the 1300s, which was when it came to be. The problem is that the shroud was written about before the 1300s, and there was many stories about it, and we knew that it had been in fires, it had been damaged, it had had new patches put into it, and the corner that they cut was the only anomalous section of the shroud, which leads most people to assume that somebody added a patch to it, and that's what they tested, and it was fire damaged. So the carbon dating was faulty, and everybody knew at the time that the carbon dating that they used and what the piece they used was an anomalous piece, so they were wrong. Well, this week, scientists used more accurate dating methods. They didn't have to cut anything out of it. They examined it, and guess what they found its age to be? Around 2,000 years old. The Shroud of Turin is around 2,000 years old. Do you know what happened around 2,000 years ago? Christ was crucified, and they buried him in the shroud. The shroud is talked about in John 20, I believe. We're going to read that. We're going to get to that here in a second. We'll talk more. I'll give you more details. We'll watch a little bit of a video, but let's get into this. Let's stop the music. All right. So we'll just start with some basic reading, some basic information for you from Wikipedia. You know, a nice, unbiased, it is biased, but just a source. The Shroud of Turin, Sindon di Torino, also known as the Holy Shroud, is a length of linen cloth. It's 14 foot long. This isn't on there, but it's 14 foot long by 4 foot wide. And the way it worked, it wasn't like a mummy. It was like you lay it down, you put the person on it, and then you fold it over, and then you tug the part of their feet and wrap their feet up in it. And the shroud, so it has some faint markings on it that look like Jesus. Let me show you a picture here. Okay, how do I zoom in? Does anybody know the it's like control? Does anybody know how I zoom? It's control something. So yeah, they carbon dated a burned piece that was an anomalous section. If you see here, so this is, let's say this is the middle line. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this would be the face, the chest, the arms are crossed, and then the legs. And then you see a reverse of it here, the head, the arms going up. This is a shadow on the Shroud of Turin. Now, these weird markings like this, these black lines going down the side, these geometric looking patterns going down the side, that's actually burn damage. So it was folded, and then it was burnt on the edges. It actually survived 3 fires, and it was doused in water twice. It had patches applied to it to fix holes. But all of these dark lines down the middle with these weird patterns, that's burn damage. That's irrelevant. What you're really looking at is this shadow here and this shadow here. And if I could zoom in, oh, I can zoom in. If you zoom in, so there's the face, there's the eyes, the lip, the chin, the hair, the chest, the arms, the hands, and some of these dark spots are blood. And if you notice, there's a big drip of blood and there's blood stains. And this thing, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. This is the most researched and examined and studied and tested ancient relic in the history of the world. Okay? You could go to seminary school or you could go to college and you can take a year of classes just about this relic right here. If you're wondering, and I've heard of it, if you're wondering why I never talked about it before, if you watched my arguments for God's existence, when I did the episode on the argument from the resurrection of Christ, where basically the argument is look at the historicity of Jesus, look at all the extra biblical historic evidence that we had that Jesus existed. One of the arguments from the resurrection is the evidence from the Shroud of Turin. But when I did that episode, we didn't have this new data out, and it was actually a highly contested thing. A lot of people said it was a hoax. A lot of people said it was fake. They said, look, we dated it. It was dated to the 1300s. It's not dated to when Jesus was crucified. But then people would say, well, your dating methods were bad. You can even see down here at the bottom, there's a patch. They put patches into it. And up here at the top, these are sections that were cut out. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. These were sections that were cut out to do the carbon dating, and they have fire damage. They have burn damage, which messes up the carbon dating. They added patches to it to fix holes. But you see the blood right here on the wrist. You see the dark stain of blood where the feet would be. You see the dark stain of blood on the forehead where the crown of thorns would have been. Well, this week, the new carbon, and then also, so this would be the front side of him. This would be the back side. Look at the back. Look at all the blood. There's blood dripping down from the head as if, so this is, he's going upwards now, right? This is the head. This is his back. Look at all the blood stains looking like lashings and whippings and scourging on the legs, on the thighs, on the back, and a ring of drippings around the head. So the new evidence shows that it's actually 2,000 years old. And for a while, it was mainly just Catholics who believed in this. It's been held in Turin, Italy since the 1500s. That's why they call it the Shroud of Turin. Hitler attempted to steal it, allegedly, in the 1940s. And then this is the negative image. The negative image is kind of creepy, but you can see it. You can see it better. Hitler may have wanted to steal the Turin Shroud. The Shroud of Turin was hidden in an Italian Benedictine abbey during World War II, in part because church authorities feared Adolf Hitler might want to steal it. According to an official at the monastery, the shroud, which many believe to have been a burial cloth of Christ, was transferred secretly from the Turin Cathedral in 1939 to the Abbey of Evergine in southern Italy and returned to Turin in 1946 after the war had ended. Officially, the reason later given for the transfer was fear that the cloth could have been damaged in the city of Turin, were bombed, but Benedictine Father Andrea Cardin, director of the Evagene library that holds the relevant documents, said the church officials also seemed to fear that the Nazis wanted to take possession of the shroud. So this thing's been examined by scientists, all sorts of scientists. I'm not just biblical people. Scientists, everybody has examined this, and they said the carbon dating that they did in 93 or 83 or whenever it was. I have notes in my phone. Let me pull up my notes. The carbon dating was inaccurate because you took an anomalous piece of the shroud. And we can't just cut something out of the middle. So they had to take a little piece off the corner, but the corners were burnt. The edges were burnt. 1988 is when the carbon-14 dating was done, and they falsely dated it to the 1300s. It's been written about extra biblically, like not in the Bible, extra biblically. It's been written about as far back as the 500s. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we start reading some of this stuff and watching this little video is the outline. The outline, the shadowing of Jesus. So they tested it, and all they found was the cloth that was used to make it, blood, which is type AB blood. So they tested it, they found there was blood in it, they found that it's cloth, there's blood, no other materials, no inks, no dyes were used, nothing else was used. And this is an expression, de momento de doctum, or something like that. De momento de doctum. Basically, the idea when you have historical validity in something, that's a Latin phrase. It means a document and a monument. If you have a monument, you have some sort of physical evidence, and then you have a document to go along with it. It's de momento de documento, or something like that. When you have those two things, it's pretty verifiable that it's legit. And we have plenty of documents about the Shroud of Turin, extra biblical and biblical. And we have the monument. So if you can prove that the monument is actually tied to the documents, it's safe to say that this is a legit thing. The false dating methods that they used, which probably conspiracy time, the guy who did that carbon dating, after he wrote his piece debunking the Shroud of Turin, he actually got like $1 million donation to his research and his whatever he was doing. I forget all the details on it. I think it might be in this video we're gonna watch. But he got a big donation. So the conspiracy is he knowingly, because anybody who studies this stuff knows that you have to use a good piece. You can't use an anomalous piece, right? They say that he did this. He debunked the shroud just to basically, debunk God, to be anti-God, anti-Christian. No habla de what? Monumento de documento. Yeah, a monument and a document. And so they say he was just trying to kind of like falsely lie to debunk Christianity. Let me read some of these articles. Here's another picture of it. Oh wait, this is the one from Wikipedia. But the crazy part is these shadows. So there's no ink in it. There's only cloth and blood are the only two, and it's type AB blood. So this is real blood here. This is blood here. This is blood on his arms, blood on his feet down here at the bottom, blood on his back. This is actual blood. It's type AB blood. And then there's the cloth. There's no inks. There's no dyes. There's no residues of anything else. So how do we have this shadowy image? And also, how do we have this very white man looking face? Like the build of this guy's face just looks white. How do we have this outline here? Well, one guy who studied it and researched it for a very long time, he spent his whole career trying to make a remake of this. So he took the same materials, and by using only blood and only the cloth, he tried to recreate this image using technology that they would have had, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, all in that time period. He tried everything he could think of to recreate this outline, this haze. And he could find absolutely no way to do it. But what he did find is that it's kind of like if you have a camera, there's a flash, and then it imprints onto the film. Well, if you think of this shroud as a piece of film and you imagine a flash underneath it, it's almost like it got flash burnt into the canvas. And he said that it was, what did he say? 34,000 billion amps or watts. It was like 34,000 billion watts is how much energy it would take to print this outline onto this shroud so that it stays there for 2,000 years. He said there's no way. He tried everything he could think of. He used every possible, and he has scientists. He's got money. Even with today's technology, he could not recreate this image. And that the only thing he thinks he could do it was a crazy amount of energy exploding beneath the shroud. And it literally printed an image onto it. And they say that, so this is still in Turin, Italy, and they take it out for showings occasionally, rarely. And it's like you get to go in there and you have like 2 minutes to look at it, and you have to wait in a long line. Everybody comes from all around the world to get there. Yoda, I unbanned you. Don't come in my chat. Just start gossiping about people. So cut that out. That person's not here. Why are you bringing up people that aren't here? Anyway, I digress. Where was I? The energy that it takes. Damn it. See, this is why I ban you. Is an amazing artifact. Thank you. That's relevant. So viewing it, you get like 120. They say that you can only actually see the outline from 8 feet away. If you get any closer, it disappears. So that's pretty wild. Let's read a little bit more about it. Fey image on the front and back of a man. It has been venerated for centuries, especially by members of the Catholic Church, as an actual burial shroud used to wrap the body of Jesus the Nazareth after his crucifixion, and upon which Jesus' bodily image is miraculously imprinted. The human image on the shroud can be discerned more clearly in a black and white photographic negative than in its natural sepia color. But an effect discovered in 1898 by Secondo Pia, who produced the first photographs of the shroud. This negative image is associated with the popular Catholic devotion to the holy face of Jesus. The documented history of the shroud dates back to 1354 when it's exhibited in the New Collegiate Church of Libre. And see, this is wrong. It's actually mentioned in writings farther back in the 800s and the 500s. Doesn't look like Wikipedia is mentioning that. We have the physical description, the history. There are no definite historical records concerning this particular shroud currently at Turin Cathedral prior to the 14th century. That's not true, Wikipedia. There's writings in the 800s, the 500s, and biblical writings, which is in the 1st century. So there is writings of it. There is documents. A burial cloth, which some historians maintain was the shroud, was owned by the Byzantine emperors, but disappeared during the sack of Constantinople in 1204. Although there were numerous reports of Jesus' burial shroud or an image of his head of unknown origin being venerated in various locations before the 14th century, there is no historical evidence that these refer to the shroud currently in Turin. So it's assumed there's potentially 3 items that have the image of Jesus. One is the Shroud of Turin. One is the cloth that they put over his face, but there's no blood on that cloth, and they don't really know if that one's real or not. And then the last one is there's a story of a woman as he was going through. This is funny. I didn't actually realize that. I think that Forrest Gump was kind of taking a shot at this. But anyway, Jesus says he's dragging the cross through the city. A woman hands him a napkin to clean his face, like a handkerchief to clean his face. And he wipes his face with it, and it leaves kind of an image of his face in the blood on the cloth. And that's a relic that people say that's Jesus's face on a cloth. Remember in Forrest Gump when he's running and the guy brings the shirt up to him and he wipes his face on the shirt and it says, "Have a nice day." Turns into the smiley face. Until I was doing this research, I think that was a biblical joke there. Let's not read any more Wikipedia. All right. Shroud of Turin shows that science only enhances mystery. This is from Unheard. The Shroud of Turin, the burial relic in which Jesus Christ is supposed to have been wrapped after his crucifixion, has long been a source of fascination and contention. The cloth, which appears to bear the imprint of Christ's body, is duly revered, was denounced by John Calvin as superstition during the Protestant Reformation. I disagree with John on this. I'm Team Shroud. I'm Team Shroud. I think you're wrong about this one, John. I think you were just trying to discredit the Catholic Church. In the 80s, a radiocarbon dating led to widespread consensus that the shroud was medieval forgery. But as of this week, Italian researchers have found, using the latest technology, that the cloth could in fact date from the life of Christ 2,000 years ago and could really contain a miraculous impression of his body and face. They conducted the study using a cutting-edge X-ray technique, the new imaging from which has since been reconstructed with AI to produce a highly realistic image of what Christ may have looked like. Perhaps just as fascinating as the discovery itself is the fact that it disrupts the widely accepted narrative of technological progress, that the more science advances, the more apparently supernatural phenomenon will be explained away. In this case, we have more scientific advancements, and guess what? It leads to more consensus in the science community that the Bible was real, and that Jesus was real, and that God is real. Crazy. In this view, technology is an inherently disenchanting force that will chase away last fairies from the great enchanted garden. The revelations of Turin suggest the opposite. Instead of furthering cynicism, innovation has opened us to the possibility of miracles once again. In one of his poems, John Keats described weaving a rainbow, breaking down all mysterious phenomenon into rational explanations, and in doing so, dispelling the magic. During the Enlightenment, this took the form of the historical critical method, which exploited contemporary archaeological and textual evidence to discredit biblical narratives as they had been accepted in the Christian tradition. Biology and physics later became methods to cast doubt on the existence of God altogether. The conviction that all religious belief would be eliminated by scientific discovery reached its peak in the new atheism of the 2000s, with Richard Dawkins using the phrase unweaving the rainbow to describe his confidence in the profane power of science. This narrative has gone unchallenged. For years, the evolutionary biologist and philosopher Rupert Sheldrake has argued that scientific experimentation may reveal the universe to be far more mysterious than we once had thought. It is the materialist dogma of modern scientific institution, he says, which insists on explaining all of existence in the terms of chemistry and physics. The Science Delusion by Sheldrake. Ooh, I have to put that on my reading list. As technology develops and comes to realize its own limits, it could be that we are increasingly forced to challenge the materialist dogma of which Sheldrake has been so critical. If the Shroud of Turin discovery is anything to go by, which it may not be, scientists have wrangled over the question of its authenticity for decades now. Scientific developments may force us to confront the insoluble mysteries of faith. Similarly, academic historians are now moving beyond the cynical approach of the historical critical method. The Yale professor Carlos Ayres' recent book, They Flew, for example, surveys previously overlooked evidence of levitating saints and other unexplainable phenomenon, which were long dismissed as superstition. So science, we getting a W from science. We're getting a W for the shroud. But I want to show you this AI image. So here's the negative. Here's the photo negative image. There's the shroud in Turin on the rack. Here's a close-up of the face without the photo negative. So this is the face when you see it regularly. And it's zoomed in because allegedly when you get close up, you can't really see it. And then this is the photo negative where they reversed it. And it makes it stand out more, what you're seeing. That's wild, huh? But check this out. So this is the AI recreated image. Let's watch this. Oh, there's an ad. We'll come back to it. New study sheds light on authenticity of Shoud of Turin. By using specific aging metrics, including temperature and humidity, they determined the cloth's age. Just waiting for this ad to run. They're not going to let me read this article, but this is from New York Sun. All right. AI recreates the face of Jesus based on the Shoud of Turin. He looks white. He looks white. What the? Who would have knew that white people also lived in the Mediterranean region? Who would have knew? He probably had a good tan though. He probably had some olive tone to him. A good tan in the sun. The eerily lifelike rendering of Jesus with shoulder-length hair and a beard was based on the controversial Shoud of Turin. Turn the music off. The so-called burial cloth containing an imprint of Jesus' face has long been debated. The 1980s radiocarbon analysis dated it to the 1300s, when an artist allegedly forged the relic using powdered paint. However, a recent X-ray analysis published in the Heritage Journal matched it to a fabric sample from Masada, Israel, between 55 to 74 CE. Veneered by Catholics around the world, including Pope Francis, the shroud is currently housed at the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, Italy. Nice. That's from the New York Post. Shoud of Turin really is 2,000 years old, from Fox. Lots of stories on this. True face of Jesus, AI recreates, from Breitbart. Hitler may have wanted to steal it. And now let's watch a little bit of this video.
News on the Shoud of Turin, which
this is a hour-long video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. If you guys are interested, we could watch more of it in the after show. But this is from Dr. Marshall Taylor. He's a doctor. He's got 1 million subscribers. We're going to play it a little fast, and we're going to just kind of skip through it. I wish it had timestamps, and I wish I would have wrote down some timestamps.
Which is allegedly the burial shroud of Jesus Christ that covered his body when he resurrected from the dead. They say 34 trillion watts of energy emitted from the body in order to create
34 trillion. Okay, so I heard 34,000 billion, which is 34 trillion. I don't know why the other guy didn't just say trillion on the other interview. I watched a lot of this last night. I probably listened to 8 hours worth of stuff about this last night. One of the guys was on an interview with Glenn Beck, and he said some stuff that differed from most of the consensus that I've looked into. But yeah, he said 34,000 billion. It's 34 trillion, bro. 34 trillion watts of energy is what would be needed to print this image on this cloth.
This 3D photo of the body of Christ. Also, scientists have seen that the blood is actual human blood. It's the blood type AB. And researchers, scientists, for the past 20, 30, 40 years have...
Jesus looks super alpha. A little skinny, but they didn't have Planet Fitness back then and protein shakes, so
said that this was a medieval forgery around the year 1300 and that it should be disregarded. And they used a certain method of carbon dating to say that this shroud was only 700 years old and should be thrown out. And of course, this raised a lot of questions. Believers say it's a miracle, but even if you say it's a forgery that's 700 years old, how did you get a 3D image? Here's the, let's see, front and back of the image.
This guy's
how does
just
someone
gonna...
in 700 years ago create this? Well, the new research that just came out this week, and I've seen it all over social media, it's on MSN, it's on Fox, it's on everything, is the new research just come out. And they say, surprise, surprise, the shroud is 2,000 years old. So today I'm going to walk you through this new research. I'm going to give you a bit of the history and some of the facts about the Shroud of Turin. I personally traveled to Turin, Italy, and saw the Shroud of Turin in 2015 when I was teaching seminarians in Rome. It was on display. I think that might have been the last time it was on display. I was teaching in Rome. I mean, if you look at this image, you can see on the left side of the shroud, you can see the face and the arms crossed and the legs moving down, but there's not a lot of detail there. And this, to me, is one of the arguments for it being real. It's not that obvious that this is a miraculous image. You look at it and you're like, there's not much here. But when you take a photo of it and you look at the negative, photo negative, you see this. How would a artist in the 1300s, how would he create a photograph? There's no pigments here.
See all the scars on the back, all the blood marks on the back from the lashing and the scourging? They call it scourging. And then these bright white spots are burn marks. So, and you see their lines going down each side if it was folded over. But isn't it crazy? The fire burnt the cloth, but it didn't burn where Jesus's image was. Isn't that wild? The fire couldn't, the cloth was burning, and they said that it's been through 3 fires. It's been doused in water twice. It's had patches added to it over time. So they've kind of tried to take care of it and keep it in good condition. And 3 fires, you can't burn the image of Jesus out of it. Isn't that wild? Huh?
How did they create a photograph? How did they get this many pints? There's human blood all over it, especially pooled down by the buttocks and behind the head. And on the back, there's pooled blood. How they get so much human blood? And again, they've proven it's human blood. It's AB type human blood. How did they do all this in the 1300s? And then how did they know? It looked like this, but how did they know that in the late 1800s and 1900s, we would actually invent photography? And then when we got the negatives of the photography, we would see all the detail that you can't otherwise see with the naked eye. You see, to me, this is just another argument that the shroud is 100% real.
So
we've got about
that's
50
crazy.
million followers. We're in the billions.
Shut up, dude.
To look like Jesus crucified, there needs to be, you need to paint where there would be crown of thorns, a wound in the side, hands, feet, blood, scourging all over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trick everybody into thinking that this is the real shroud of Jesus. So you have to get an artist and you have to produce this. But the problem is, you say, but you can't use a paintbrush. You can't use a pencil. You can't use a pen. You can't use a quill. You can't use dye. No pigments. Can't use color. You have to produce it without any of those artistic techniques. And you have to do it in the 1300s. And the skeptics look at this and they say, yeah, I mean, this looks like, let's see if I have another. This looks like someone produced a photo of photography on a sheet, a fabric sheet. How did they do this in the 1300s? No one knows. How would you reproduce this?
Yep, Jesus is fireproof, exactly.
And then how would you do it where it was so subtle, but then in the 1900s, when we have real photography, advanced photography, we would then get the photo negative and it would be even more detailed than we ever imagined.
All right. He keeps talking, but I pretty much covered everything he said. I made it a little shorter, a little more JS-esque. But we can watch more of that video if you guys want in the after show. If anybody's interested, we can talk about it in the after show. Historical evidences of Christ. But I do need to take Echo on a walk, and I do need to go get something to eat. So it's 9. We're 20 minutes over our time. So I'm going to end the show, guys. Thank you for watching. I've been recording this. Maybe we'll put a video out later, so I'm going to stop the recording. But before I stop the show, where's our song at? Guys, this has been the Dreaded Conservative Show. Every Monday night, kicking the week off right. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. We got more historical evidence, more historicity behind Jesus. We had a boring DNC, but the Trump ticket is filling up fast. Tulsi, RFK, let's go. Hey, I'll see you guys for the after party, the after show. We will be right back. Panel, watch some content, hang out, talk about whatever. So I will see you guys there. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you do all the good stuff. Make sure you're subscribed. Consider becoming a member. Hit up the Cashapp if you want to help out your boy. $ Dreaded Conservative. And we'll be back in like 40 minutes. 40 minutes for the after party. Watch the channel for the thumbnail. Make sure your notifications are turned on. And I will see you guys in just a little bit. God bless. We out. Peace.